Yes, y'all, it's going down right now. Episode 76 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast is coming at you live. I am your host, Moodz616, and of course, I've always got my homie sitting right in front of me because I'm looking at a computer screen. We got the half-blooded and hard-headed Mexican double shot J, also known as JP. And of course, we are very, very excited to welcome back to the show 1/3 of the Disturbing Cinema podcast, Victor Salva, aka the pedophile. Correction. I mean Kyle, aka the horrophile. What is going on, my homies?
What is up, bro? And yeah, I guess you can call me a pedophile at this point because, yeah, I mean, I've been called it on almost every fucking episode at this point. So
I just can't stop because it's your name is just perfect for it, and just with all this, talk about Victor Salva in the news lately and stuff, and it was right there. I had to do it.
I'll forgive you guys. I mean, it's all good. I love you guys either way. So it's
I bet you'd love us even more if it was 12.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say that. It's all good. You do have a 12-year-old dick, so we all know.
Gross. But speaking
I am pretty short.
That is true. You are. But you're pretty tall actually for a Mexican, though. To be honest, it's got some height. You got some height. But speaking of that motherfucker, Victor Salva. So somebody posted in the group page the other day about how filming for Jeepers Creepers 3 is going to start pretty soon here, and it's going to be in British Columbia where I live, so literally in my backyard. And I got thinking to myself, I'm going, how in the fuck can this guy cross the border into Canada, let alone the province where I live in? And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, how does he get across the border? He has a criminal record. I mean, is it like so much time goes past and they just forgive him? But you can't forgive a pedophile. It's a fucking pedophile. You're letting this guy go into a different country and film with kids. Yeah. BC, where I live. Right. What is going on with this? I just had to bring this up because, well, of course, I brought up Victor Salva, so now I'm all pissed off.
It's so funny to read his Wikipedia. I'm like looking at his Wikipedia right now. The first fucking sentence of his Wikipedia says, Victor Salva is an American film director and convicted sex offender.
No way.
Yeah, I swear to God, look it up. So funny.
That is hilarious.
That's so horrible, man.
It just sucks, dude. It just sucks so bad to me because,
yeah,
I truly think, and I believe this, and I've said it before, that Victor Salva, had he not molested a kid, we would be talking about him as if he was a master. He would have made a lot more movies, and he would have made a lot more horror movies, and they probably would have been good based on just his technique. Like he has a good filmmaking technique. He knows how to make scary movies, and it's unfortunate that we were kind of had that ripped away from us. But maybe in the DeLorean, you can go back and be like, hey, drop that penis. Or something like that. I don't know. Like, it just sucks.
Wow, that was
funny.
I
always think about it. I think about it. I think of Victor Salva molesting kids all the time. And it brings
that's a little strange, though.
It brings my blood to a boil because I'm like, you deprived us of some probably great films that probably don't exist, probably will never exist. And in a alternate timeline, we could be talking, because you would never even think of him as a sex offender if he hadn't been, you know what I mean? So everybody would probably talk about how great he was, and he would probably, I think he would be maybe not on the tier of like Carpenter or Craven, but maybe on that
I wouldn't go that.
secondary tier of directors.
I mean, the problem from myself, the problem is with saying, he could be such a great director if he made a lot more films, but it could go the complete opposite way too. And we've learned that. I mean, there's some directors out there that started out really promising in their careers and then made a lot of movies. And, if you look at their filmography as a whole, not really the greatest.
Perfect, that's for sure.
The person that I always think about when I think of like, man, his career started out so amazing. He did so many good films. And, basically in the last, I want to say 30 years, hasn't really made anything that great. And that's Tobe Hooper. Tobe Hooper has an amazing filmography early in his career, and then he kept making films throughout the years, and nothing was really that great.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of a shame. And like, I don't really consider Tobe Hooper as like this masterful director, even though he's done one of the best horror films of all time. But I mean, if you look at his career as a whole, it's kind of a mess. It is kind of a mess. So, I mean, if you look at, I mean, it is kind of a shame. I mean, every time I think of Victor Salva, I always think of the classic, you know, stuck between a rock and a hard place type thing. You know, I really enjoy his films, but I really loathe him with a passion. And, you know, like, the name just kind of makes me grip my teeth.
It
you know,
is
every time
like
I
a
hear
very
that name.
pedophilic name.
Yeah, Victor, I know, right? And then I just couldn't believe this post. I thought it was actually a joke at first, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, this guy's allowed into BC?" And I'm like, "What is going on? This is crazy." But it was kind of a rhetorical question because I really don't know the reasons why he is allowed to go into a different country now, considering he has a record. So it's interesting, but maybe I'll have to make a trip down to, you know, a few hours away.
I don't know. I don't know
Go walk on the
Canadia's
set.
rules.
Well, no, it works both ways. It's like, I mean, you know, if I had a DUI, you know, I would not be allowed in the US, and it goes the same way. Like, you know, if you had a DUI, you wouldn't be able to go up into Canada. It's kind of like that thing. It's like a major charge kind of thing. I mean, I know that he was convicted.
Sure I don't know. Is that true? Like, you could, like, if you have any type of criminal record, you can't come down to the US.
Well, I have about three or four buddies
even
that
to
have
visit.
Every time I go to the States or go to Mexico or something like that, they can't come. They just can't go.
That's crazy.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, it's kind of shitty. But I know there is a certain time period where things can pass. I know that he was convicted in the early 90s it was, right? Or something. So he hasn't had any charges since, and maybe there's a time constraint. I don't know. But I mean, fact of the matter is he's obviously allowed to be country jumping. So
well, that's not necessarily true.
Well, I mean, if he's allowed across the board, it doesn't
matter.
matter.
We don't know if he's allowed.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, they did say. The article just said.
Well, there is a little bit of news later that we're going to get to that has to do with this kind of. So,
I just kind of took it like, you know, Victor Salva's going to be on the set if they're going to, you know, start the shooting of Jeepers Creepers 3. But who knows? I mean, I've seen weirder things with guys that have directed films that were never on the set, which makes absolutely no fucking sense to me whatsoever.
He fucking looks like a pedophile.
He does.
Yeah.
It's that little pornographic mustache that he has in that pic there.
It's rough, man. It's and I said this before. The way that Jeepers Creepers 1 and even 2 came about was very sneakily. This was early internet time. There's nowhere near the amount of social media back then as there is now.
Oh,
and
no.
I feel like because those films came out at a time where nobody really even knew who the hell he was, but now with social media, and I seen it when they announced this, it's all over the place, dude. There's articles everywhere talking about his sex offending past. So I really do think that this film might be harder to make, and he's made films since then, but now all of a sudden it's Jeepers Creepers 3, and it seems to be more of a big deal, because I'm telling you, dude, I've seen it on every horror site that I go to. Somebody either posting news and commenting on his sexual assault, sexual, you know, molestation charges, and straight up articles written about. Literally, I've seen one that said, like, we can't allow Victor Salva to make movies. I've seen ones that say, you know, should everybody get a second chance? It's pretty crazy. It's honestly kind of I don't know. I guess I'm kind of excited at the topic because it seems like so many people are very passionate, and like it's really sort of becoming this big debate. And I definitely am very interested to see how this plays out, especially with the news that we're going to talk about later with Victor Salva again.
You know, the interesting thing is, you know, the norm for when a part 3 comes out, it's kind of like, you know, Jeepers Creepers 3D. You know, in Victor Salva's case, it'd be like, you know, Jeepers Creepers 3 some.
Under 3.
Under 3. Oh God.
Okay, so that we're obviously making very fun of pedophilia tonight.
I know.
I was gonna say a joke, but then I just realized, I've heard that joke before, and Brandon dropped it. It was a pretty good one. I believe they were talking about something to do with pedophilias, and he's like, sorry if we offended any pedophiles out there. It's pretty good, you know, pretty good.
That is good, man. So what else has been going on, guys? What's new in your daily lives? Anything cool? Kyle, what's going on?
Not much, man. Just like I was saying before the show, been working a lot. I went through and uploaded a lot of the podcast of me and JP. He took forever to upload some of the Ash vs. Evil Dead ones, but I finally got those uploaded on my site, which took a little while because I had to change the descriptions around. Got all that done. I'm actually doing a contest on my page right now. To win a copy of Deathgasm on Blu-ray that I accidentally apparently got sent to me. So I'm doing that right now. But other than that, really not a lot. I haven't really watched.
How did you accidentally get a copy of Deathgasm sent to you?
I actually ordered Deathgasm from BestBuy.com, and they sent me 2 copies, and they only charged me for one. I don't know how that happened. They sent me 1 copy, and I got it like the day I was supposed to, and then like 3 days later, I got another copy, and I was like, I hope I didn't get double charged for this, and I went and looked, and I didn't. So I guess it was some kind of a mess up on their behalf or something. But
I thought maybe you're just turning into Turi from the group page there.
Didn't they fire
he buys
you
2
once?
of everything.
Yeah. Do what, JP?
I said, didn't they fire you once?
What, Best Buy?
Yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Okay, so this is karma for you, dude.
Yeah, I worked at Best Buy for about 5 years, I want to say.
You worked there 5 years and they fired. What'd you get fired for?
All right, so this is since JP likes to bring up the past.
Why are you bringing up old shit?
No, like I had a company-owned laptop, and I had.
Oh, you were looking at the gay porn, weren't you?
Yeah, I was looking at gay porn on it, and I was actually tugging my meat to it, and they were looking through the webcam at me while I was doing it, and the corporate fired me. No, I'm just joking. But no, I downloaded a movie on my company-owned laptop, and they found out and fucking fired me for it. So.
Really?
Yeah, they're savage.
Like just one infraction? Like did
one
you
infraction?
had
Never got written up. Never got in trouble with that company whatsoever the whole time I was there, and they fired me. Now the funny thing
Isn't that kind of breaking labor laws? Like you can't just fire somebody for just one thing,
yeah,
can you? Like
yeah, you can.
I mean, here it's impossible to fire people.
It's a little easier here, man.
Yeah, it's much easier.
You need those 3 write-ups, and then you have to have a verbal and all these other written ones, and then it's just fucking bullshit. It's so hard to fire people.
Sometimes you actually don't even have to have a reason. You
God,
can literally just fire somebody. They might get unemployment or something out of you, but certain states and stuff, you don't even have to have a reason.
There is a twist to this story. So when I got fired, this is even more fucked up. This is worse than me getting fired. When I got fired, I had went into an interview to move up in the company. I had applied for a job, went into the interview. They fired me in the interview. Yeah.
Wait. You gotta hold up, back up, reverse.
Yeah.
Hold up. So you're all excited.
So I'm dressed up.
And
to go, so I'm dressed up in a nice polo and
you've done good at this you've done good at Best Buy, right?
I've been moving up in this company for a while. I'm actually pretty high up in Geek Squad. I go in for an interview to move up in Geek Squad. I was going to be the next whatever the next roll up was at the time. I don't even remember what it was. I went into the interview when
was you nervous?
I mean, a little bit, I guess, at the time. I don't remember. It's been so long.
Okay, so get a little more detailed. You walk in to is there a room? Is there one guy with a long table and a laptop sitting there? Set the stage.
Pretty much, here's the stage. I was sitting, me and my partner were both moving up in the company. I was going to become what he was, and he was going to become something higher than because we worked together.
Okay.
So I was sitting in the break room waiting for him to get out of his interview. They pull me into the interview. It's me and my manager, and he's like, hey, before we do this interview, you're going to have to get on the line with corporate and talk to them for a minute. So I talked to corporate, and they're like, hey, we scanned everybody's computer in the company, and we saw that you were downloading movies, and or you downloaded this movie, and they said the name of the movie. I don't even remember what it was. It was something stupid, some shitty movie. And they're like, we are going to have to put you on leave, and we're going to have to find out whether or not you're going to have a job. So they immediately put me on leave, and then they took away all my laptop, my card they give you, and then the next day they fired me.
Did you cry?
Oh my god, dude, that story is amazing.
It was a really just fucked up situation at the time for me because I was
you like, are you serious?
No, I looked at him, I said, is this a joke? I thought it was a joke. Like I was like,
I've never heard of someone going in for an interview for a higher position in their company and getting fired.
Yep, I went in for the interview and got
They
fucking.
honey dick
That
too.
is some sneaky shit, man.
Yeah,
That's
the
some
fucked up
sneaky
thing
shit.
about it is they fired about 250 people in the entire company for the same thing that I did, and then the fucked up thing about that is some of those people are actually after like a certain amount of time were able to come back and work for Best Buy again, and they're actually working for Best Buy now.
And you wasn't allowed.
Really?
No, I'm allowed to. I can reapply, but I'm not going to work for that fucking company again.
What kind of discount did you get there?
What did I get? Oh, God, it's been so long. I think I got like a 20% discount.
That's not too bad.
No,
That's not
that's
bad.
pretty good.
Better than nothing.
It's
what I
funny
get.
though because
Yeah.
Damn, dude, that story had me in stitches, man. I had to pause
he
it.
told me that story before. It's great.
I was wiping tears away.
Yeah.
Kyle got fired for having 50 first dates on his computer.
Dude, it was actually
the Adam Sandler film.
No,
that
it
was totally
actually,
worth it, wasn't
it was actually a horror movie. I don't remember what the movie was. It was like some low budget horror movie. But I remember I downloaded it, and the fucked up thing is I downloaded it like 2 months prior to me getting fired. So like it would have been on my computer for like a long time.
Did you watch it at least?
Oh yeah, I'm sure I did. I don't even remember what it was.
Why did you fucking delete it? Why would you keep it on there?
Well, it wasn't that like I could have deleted it, but they could still tell that I would have downloaded it. I mean, they scanned.
Now, did you think of doing this, Kyle?
Yes.
Did you think of saying, "Well, I already own the movie. I just wanted a digital copy."
Well, they don't really take that into consideration when you torrent things. So
I guess not, right?
yeah.
Because that's the case with like old video games, right? You get the emulator and you get the ROMs, and the purpose of that is if you own the game, but you want a copy, like a digital version of it.
You know, that's like complete bullshit. That's like people covering up the fact that they're fucking downloading
Well,
movies.
yeah, but I mean,
fuck, it's
I
good.
mean that's like the thing, though. I mean, that's like.
Yeah, AKA, I have the worst fucking luck ever. So
No, you don't. You got 2 copies of Deathgasm, dude.
well, that's like the most exciting thing that's happened to me in like
In your
my entire
life.
fucking life.
So they just massacred the employees, man. 250 people.
They fired 200. They were actually going through like a really bad company like wide, like they were just losing money and they were trying to look for ways to fire people is what I kind of got at. So
And somebody was like, "Hey, why don't we just
Scan all
scan
these
all their computers?" I
Yeah.
wonder how many people they found, like our friend Victor Salva. You think they found anybody?
Probably.
Ooh.
I
You
mean,
got to think out of 250 people, you would think at least one
No,
would be a pedophile.
just 250 people got fired for what I did. There was probably thousands of people that had laptops.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I don't know.
So
Crazy.
Fuck
That's
that
crazy.
situations. But
That's-
but yeah, thanks JP for bringing up that fucked up situation again. You really lighten the mood for me here. Goddamn fucking son of a bitch.
Oh, man. So if
Ah.
you guys are interested, definitely hit up Kyle's contest on his channel. You find that probably not in the link down below because I don't usually put his channel there.
Let me kind of go over the rules for my contest just really quick. So I'm giving away a copy of Deathgasm, or if you already have Deathgasm, I don't mind buying a copy of something for you if you do win. I've already had like 5 people enter. It's really easy to enter. You go to my page, you just basically like the video that I made, you know, kind of talking about the contest. You make a video response telling me your favorite gore scene of any movie, and you put my name in the description, and you just put the link for your video in my comments. And you know, I'm just going to basically take all those. I think I said the contest was going to end in April 14th or April 15th,
Okay.
and we're just going to draw. I'm just going to draw a name and send it to somebody. So just
Cool.
You know,
Cool.
hit it up.
So maybe I'll enter that. I'll try to if I have the time and I have the memory for it. Something I would like to announce. Shit, yo. You know that Synapse Tenebrae Steelbook?
Yeah.
Yep.
I know this like Mexican dude whose birthday's coming up, and he would really like that. So, I'm saying.
Hey, we're gonna keep this under $20, so I don't know how much that is. I think it's that was
fuck
like
that
40
Steelbook, man. It makes me mad
I
still.
don't even want to think about birthdays, man. That's all I did this past weekend. Had my
I don't
son's
even
birthday
celebrate my birthday. I haven't celebrated
Ugh.
my birthday since I was like 13.
Man, it was just like crazy ass weekend. Okay, it's Easter weekend. I start off the Friday with my son's birthday, and it's just fucking crazy all Friday. It's basically almost had like two parties, one for like his kid friends, and then my family was over. Then Saturday, of course, we did the Easter dinner with my family, so it was fucking haywire. And Sunday was my wife's birthday, so that was retarded. And then Monday, I spent the whole fucking day are doing yard work and shit. Like this whole weekend, I was just like, I didn't get to, it just felt like it was so much work. I'm still fucking drained, man. I want to think about birthdays, but yeah. JP, maybe I'll send you something for your birthday, man.
I still gotta send you something.
It's not gonna be no 10. I can't afford that shit myself.
Yeah.
Like it's like $80 fucking bucks to me. Like that.
By the way, Moodz sent me. It's in my next update that I have recorded. He sent me the Canadian super sexy edition of Black Christmas, which I'm a little disappointed I'm have to wait like a year almost to watch it, because I can't be watching that in the middle of this spring. So next winter, that is going in my Blu-ray player as soon as the first snowflake hits the ground in Southwest PA. Thanks for that, buddy. That was really awesome. I love it.
Yeah, it is nice. It's a really stacked edition, man. It has so many features. It has all the ported over ones and all the new ones. It's a great edition, man. Really, really good stuff. Glad you liked it.
I did. I do. I love it.
Awesome. Well, should we get into some news? Got some?
Yes, let's do that. It was looking a little dry at first because at the time of us recording this, it's actually Wednesday. I don't think we've recorded on Wednesday in like a long ass time, if ever. And that's not usually our record day, so this is kind of a quick turnaround here. So it's like about 5 days since our last recording, so there hasn't, two or so days of news still would be usually on the show. If anything comes out tomorrow or the next day, that's why we didn't get to it. But first up, we have a little update on our good old franchise that we love to tease. They love to tease us with it, and that is of course, my favorite franchise. That is the Friday the 13th franchise. Apparently, Brad Fuller and whoever the hell he is, whoever's running this shit, was at somewhere to talk about like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or some shit, the new one. And essentially, they got a little update on Friday the 13th, the one that got delayed a couple times. And essentially, they said two things. As we know, David Bruckner was attached. He said that he wanted to do sort of a Dazed and Confused meets like Friday the 13th thing set in the 80s. And that is not what we're going to see now. So he got canned. And the guy, Guzawowski, is the writer now. I don't know if he's doing the directing or not, but he's also doing the remake of The Wolfman. So he's kind of busy right now. Anyway, they said two things. They said, A, it is not found footage. He's talking. And B, it is a period piece. So it's not set in present day. That's good signs to me. Are we talking like, when I think of period piece, I'm thinking like, like the Victorian era. It'll be set in like the 80s or 90s or some shit, or 50s. 50s would be cool. But anyway, also there was cool, man. There was a second little update, and apparently, they said that the script is due in April. And the plan is to begin filming at the end of summer. Now, this film initially had a 2017 of January release date. That's the newest release date. That would be kind of a quick production. I mean, it's no Hellraiser 10 or anything, but that seems kind of quick. I don't know, man. I mean, it's one of those things. I'm not really buying into it too much. Because it's just over and over again they delay this stuff. So, yeah. Yeah, once we get some concrete evidence that they're actually filming and things are happening, maybe I'll start to get a little excited. I don't get excited, though. Yeah. But who knows? Yeah, that's the old Friday the 13th news of the week. It's just we're just drained from talking about it. Yeah. So much Friday the 13th news. Okay, so I kind of... mentioned this a little bit earlier when we was talking about Victor Salva, but some more Jeepers Creepers 3 news. As we either talked about, or it was, I don't know if we had a chance to talk about it, but they released like info about casting and stuff, and what had happened was the Union of British Columbia Performers alerted talent agents, who in turn alerted the website that was hosting the casting thing, and they removed the casting thing upon learning of Victor Salva's conviction. So the project has been removed from the files. All submission made by any agent on the project are no longer available to casting director nor any member of the production staff. Meanwhile, the union issued their own statement. I'm getting this from Bloody Disgusting, by the way. It was recently come to our attention that the casting breakdown has gone out of for a feature film entitled Jeepers Creepers 3, and the director of the film, Victor Salva, was a convicted sexual misconduct in 1988. The conviction allegedly resulted from a misconduct involving a minor whom Mr. Salva was directing at the time. At this time, we would like to remind our members and their agents under Article A2702, Safety and Welfare of a Minor, of the BC Master Production Agreement, a performer has the right to refuse work if they believe that the nature of the work is unsafe. So I'm not sure exactly what all that means, but essentially they pulled the casting thing from whatever place it was in British Columbia. So it seems like Canada is going to war with Mr. Victor Salva.
So this happened in 1988, you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
And like he's still convicted of it, or like
he got convicted of it.
Yeah, it'll always be on his record.
Well, yeah, I know that, but like, what did he exactly do? Does it actually say what he did?
I have read that it was I know that one of them was like oral sex on a minor.
Okay, well that's a little creepy. So I was about to say, if he just like if it was something, and not that it makes any difference.
Have you seen Clown House, bro?
Okay, wait a minute. He did the oral sex on the minor?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe that's what I should fact check. Is it on his Wikipedia page? Damn it.
Probably. I mean, but it is Wikipedia. It could say some other nasty shit on there too. But, well, anyways, big ups to British Columbia for taking it down. But at the same time, it's like, again, stuck between that rock and the hard place. It's like, well, if we keep, getting rid of these postings and things like that, then what? This movie's never going to get made.
Okay, so this is what he was charged with. He was in possession of child pornography. That was also found in his home. He pleaded guilty to lewd and lascivious conduct, oral sex with a person under the age of 14, and procuring a child for pornography. He was sentenced to 3 years in state prison, and he served 15 months of that 3 years. He completed his parole in 1992.
Has he like gotten in trouble for that shit ever since, or is
it? No, he's been good ever since. Like he hasn't done anything. Clown House the Clown House was filmed in 88. It was released in 89. Shortly, either during that time of its release or slightly before or slightly after, he was charged with the molestation of the lead actor in Clown House, and that's why that film has not really been released. Because honestly, it's the right thing to do. You shouldn't release that. I'm sure that kid does not want. I'm sure he wants that thing buried. That kid probably had a terrible, obviously had a terrible experience, but that's terrible memories. I'm sure if he walks into Walmart and sees Clown House sitting on a rack, it's gonna stir up some old memories, So I as much as I like the movie Clown House, when I watch it, I can't help but notice. I mean, dude, it's like some of those shots and stuff is very messed up. There's some definite creepy shit going on in that movie.
Yeah.
But
it's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah, it's tough because I do like Clown House. It's a good movie. But
why doesn't somebody else just direct Jeepers Creepers 3? Does he have the rights to it or something?
I don't know if he has the rights to it, but I would assume that he had. It's very rare that you retain like the rights to the movie, but in the case of like something like Holliston with Adam Green, he did retain the rights to that, and I think he owns the rights to Hatchet as well. So it does happen. It can't happen.
This guy can't expect to like make this movie with all this shit that's going on right now and some company distribute it or these actors playing it. Like after all the shit that's going on social media and like on the internet right now, does he really think that a company is going to distribute this movie like for him or?
Yeah, probably. I mean, listen, bro. Companies care about money, that's for damn sure. But
yeah, it's all about the almighty
dollar. He made 2 movies
dollar.
since then. He made Rosewood Lane and Dark House in 2011 and 2014. He made Peaceful Warrior before that in 2006. Jeepers Creepers 2 in 2003.
Then why was this never an issue before?
Because of social media. Jeepers Creepers is a big name. Rosewood Lane crept through. That's a film that was very low key. Nobody was. Rose McGowan's in it. I mean, hell, dude. But it's not a film that got a lot of publicity. When you announce a Jeepers Creepers 3, it's going to get a lot of bigger news sites reporting on it, and then that's just a snowball effect with social media, and that's kind of what happened. I predicted this shit, man. I like knew this was going to happen because it's just a different beast. You can't quietly creep out at Jeepers Creepers 2 like you could in 2003. You couldn't, because 2003, man, social media was nowhere compared to what it is now, dude. I mean, it runs our lives. And,
it spreads like wildfire, man.
Yeah,
everybody knows.
I hope the film gets made. I'm willing to. I'm not a supporter of Victor Salva, but I do believe in second chances. I'm conflicted because some things
I don't for sexual predators, but I mean.
I don't either, but I mean, at the same time, like, I feel like that with all this going on right now, he should probably just hand this down to somebody else. Say, okay, I'm getting too much slack for this. This isn't worth it. You direct this movie. Fuck it. Like, I feel like
believe this movie's not going to get made. I think this movie's not going to get made.
You want to do a wager?
It's going to be tough, man.
You want to do a wager?
If they're dropping all these, casting calls and like everything, I mean. Who knows? I mean, if it does get made, I'll put a wager on it that Scream Factory distributes.
No, I mean, well, it's gonna be a theatrical film, I would assume.
Really? You think?
Yeah, dude. Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2 made a lot of money.
I know, but like it's different times, though, right?
I don't think it'll ever get put in a theater. It'll probably go straight to video, dude.
I would assume it's straight to. I never even thought about a theatrical for this, man. I mean, I can't imagine anybody wanting that backlash of, putting that out into theaters and directed by Victor Salva. It's like, fuck, man. Try to keep it a little more low key, I guess. You want to make some money off it.
We'll see how it plays out. After that, we have a little update on.
I'll take you up on that wager, though.
Yeah? What do you want to bet?
That it's not going to get made, or if it's going to get made, or if it's going to go theatrical or video.
Let's go with the just made.
I'm having second thoughts. You know what? We'll work something out later.
Okay. How about we just work it out now? We'll just go Blu-ray. $15 to $20 Blu-ray. And of the winner's choice, and it has to be made by, let's say, 2018. So this is a 2-year bet.
2018?
Yeah, well, it's slated for 17. I mean, you gotta have a little leadway because shit gets delayed.
Okay, we'll give it right to the end of 2017, which theoretically is 2018, right?
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
So Luis out there, Luis, I know that you're kind of the record keeper here and the bookkeeper of the 22 shots. Remember this. Remind me in 2 years.
He's gonna hold you up to this shit.
Because we have established that we both have really, really bad memories.
Yeah.
Oh, JP won't forget about a free Blu-ray. That motherfucker's gonna be on top of that shit.
That is true, man.
That motherfucker say it's gonna be like 2019, and he's gonna have forgot it, and he's gonna oh yeah, I forgot to hit up Moodz about that free Blu-ray that he owes me. Blu-ray is gonna be fucking like a thing of the past at this point. There's gonna be like something else going on.
Because he always fucking wins, man. All the bets that him and Jeremy had throughout the NFL season, I think JP won all of them.
I wouldn't have bet that this movie wouldn't have got made because I could see this movie getting made, but maybe not by Victor Salva.
I don't know, man. I think it's gonna be tough now. I mean, just all the backlash. I mean, look what's happening here. In BC. I mean, they're already putting the kibosh down on that shit. You know,
like even with all the hype, this movie's getting like super hype because of this guy. I feel like even if he backs out of it, somebody will make it. Like because they're going to be like, okay, well, if I make this now,
well, maybe that should be part of the bet then. This movie does not get made by Victor Salva.
That would be perfect.
Because if it does get passed off, I could see it getting made for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't bet against that. I mean, that's just crazy. It's cheaper as creepers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Victor will let it go though. It's kind of his baby.
Yeah, I mean that is true.
Who knows?
Yeah. So anyway, let's get a little extra. Let's turn it to a little bit more of a positive note. We got the Tales from the Crypt remake TV series hitting TNT, reviving by M. Night Shyamalan as the curator. It's supposed to be part of a 2-hour horror block that TNT is developing, which, you know, flashback to 1995, 96. You got Joe Bob Briggs hosting Monster Vision every Saturday night. Those were the days, man. And, you know, and ever since then, TNT has not been good. So I'm looking forward to seeing some more horror content on there. And so basically, it does seem like they are going to do a Crypt Keeper of sorts. Unfortunately, HBO owns the rights to the style, the design, and the you know, the way the Crypt Keeper was done before this, so legally they have to change it up. It's supposed to be a episodic format. There was a talk of having an American Horror Story style series where it's like a, you know, one main story and then it'll switch to the next season. Yeah. But I guess that it's sort of they might be kind of leaning. This is what the article says. It says they might be leaning towards more of an old school style of storytelling opposed to the episodic. I'm not sure exactly what they mean by that. But
what they didn't say is that it's going to be anthology based, and that's just bullshit.
I don't know.
Well, episodic. I mean, it might just not be like American Horror Story. It could just be like fucking, I don't know, like Scream. I don't even know.
Well, technically, American Horror Story is an anthology of sorts. It's just each story is one season.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's kind of stretching it a little bit, but I don't know why don't they just create an anthology? You know, give the fans what they want. I mean, who wants this? I mean, American Horror Story
because I feel like they're not. I don't think they really have the hardcore fans in mind in this. I think they just want to capitalize on. Because right now, I don't know if you've noticed, but we're not the type of people that are making American Horror Story great right now, that it's killing in the ratings. Like us right here, the hardcores, it's not us. It's the mainstream. I know, but it's like general audience.
But at one time when Tales from the Crypt was, you know, popular, it was fan base. I mean, it was us that was watching that shit. I mean, who?
I don't think so. I mean, I wasn't. I mean, I watched it, but I mean, I remember my uncle and aunt and stuff would get excited for it, and they weren't horror fans or anything.
I think that was made for horror fans. Like Tales from the Crypt was more made for horror fans. I think American Horror Story just appeals to the masses because, you know, it's a little tamer. It's a full story. It's, you know, I don't know. I think it's just
I would tend to disagree because I feel like Tales from the Crypt was
what a surprise. He's disagreeing.
But no, I'm being serious. Like, I think that based on just seeing all the popular faces, these weren't horror actors. You know, a lot of them were like Arnold freaking Schwarzenegger and stuff. Like, I feel like they were trying to appeal to like the biggest audience they could at the time. And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the success of like television shows are never based on how, the hardcore's love for it. It's always based on how well it goes to general audiences, how well it sort of captures their attention. Because we're not big enough to really have a mega impact that keeps these shows alive for 7-8 seasons. And I honestly think that, you know, stuff like Scream.
I don't know. I disagree,
look
man.
At something like Scream, right? Hardcores are not into it, but it's doing really well.
I would have been, yeah. I mean, I know. Well, it's kind of teeny boppy though. I mean, once you watch it, it's not well written. It's not that great. You know, I mean, I would have loved to have been right into it. It would have been fantastic. You know, I'm not just going to write it off because, you know, it's appealing to a whole pile of different people. I'm not that type of person. but I did watch it.
Mhm.
Right, I just didn't think it was that great. I mean,
Yeah, I didn't either.
it's, I just think it's it's for younger crowds, and maybe they just appreciate it more. I don't know. It's just different, but like I said, I would have loved to have loved it, but unfortunately, no.
Okay, actually, you know what's funny? I didn't read like the rest of it to you guys because apparently, he's saying that, basically, Shyamalan is leaning towards delivering Tales from the Crypt as short, independent stories that would be more in tune with the original comics and HBO series. So
Now that sounds a little more like
Yeah.
anthology based.
it does, right?
Okay,
on.
we're just gonna edit out that whole past conversation and just
Yeah, I
go
was
with
gonna say.
I told
Jeez.
Moodz before we started the show that I made a mistake this week because it was a short turnaround, and normally I'll read through the news. I was just copy and pasting shit today, so I didn't actually pre-read this stuff. So I'm kind of going with the flow.
It is strange. It actually feels like we just recorded last week's podcast like yesterday.
I know, it's so weird. It's so
Because I was so, like I said, I was so busy on the weekend and just like, holy shit, it's already Wednesday. Like we're already recording. Like, holy fuck. But no, actually, no, this makes for pretty entertaining when you're not reading right through it.
Yeah, I guess so. Huh?
You find things out as you go along.
Yeah, man. I enjoy it. I think it's fun.
All right, so check this out for some news. Demons 3D. What? So
I
apparently,
know.
this film is
See? Not threesome, right? 3D. Is that how the jokes they just apply later on in the show? And I was floored by this announcement, man. Honest to God, I like stared at the screen and I was like, I don't even know what to think about this. So weird. Continue.
Okay, so I'm apparently that's the 30-year anniversary mark coming up soon, and
That was last year,
Was it?
2000.
okay, so
Yeah, it came out in
so
85.
so last year it was the whatever 30-year mark, and they started talking about like a 3D remake. Well, Stavalti, I don't know who that is. Stavaletti. Do you know who that is, Moodz?
I'm not 100% sure who you're referring to right now. It's Italian.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you that.
man. Well, anyway, whoever that is, he said we all wish Italian horror could return again, but we know how unlikely that is. We've been speaking about a new Demons movie for a short time now. Dario, Lamberto, myself, maybe a 3D version of Demons, a remake that features the old crew. Stivaletti speaks to the fan base that he's sure exists. We go to conventions across the world and people remember our work, so there's an audience out there for a new Demons movie. We're all sure of it. So yeah, I mean, is that like much of a movement? Not really. That's just sort of like saying like, yeah, it'd be cool if we did this, huh? So there's talks. There is talks of a Demons 3D, but my issue with it is if you're gonna call it Demons 3D, why not just make it a sequel? Like, let's drop this remake talk right away.
I know, exactly. That was the first thing I said. I was like, why remake? Why not just make a Demons 3? Just try and to do something, come up with a new screenplay, a new story for it, and just make a third one. Why not? I mean, if everyone wants to jump on board, like Argento and Lamberto Bava, and whoever else was on it, like I'm not sure who you were referring to. Is it
Stavaletti? I don't know how to say Italian fucking names.
Sergio Stivaletti?
Maybe?
Is it like Dardano?
I don't.
It just
know.
says, I'm looking at it. It says Sergio Stivaletti. It says the article I'm reading is from horrormovies.ca. It says
because Dardano, I think he was the guy that wrote the original story or something like that. So I thought that's who you're referring to. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I'm not
actually 100% sure who that is. Maybe he's like a producer. So I'm not.
Yeah,
100%
well,
sure.
the article that I grabbed only refers to him by his last name, so.
Oh, weird.
It says he's a film director and creator of special effects Italian.
Oh yeah, I think he is the guy that did the effects on it. That's probably right, actually. So, I just you try and pronounce the name. I was like, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Dude,
he did the makeup. He did the makeup for the original Demons.
Okay, that's where I was trying to think.
I figured that if I said some Italian name, you would have known who it was right away.
I know. I was like trying. Okay, I'm like, I think I know kind of who he's talking about. Yeah, the effects artist, totally.
Yep.
Which would be, if you try to capture any of the, that real demons effects and atmosphere from the first, it's gonna be really, really tough to do.
It
I
would
think
be.
that's
I'll
probably
tell
what
you
they're.
right now, it will come out and everybody will hate it.
I mean, as
Because
long as they do practical, I mean, if they go the practical route, and at least attempt to try to capture something. I'm not like redo it. I'm just saying capture what they did before. Because we know some of like the later Italian films that they kind of got lazy, man. Like you see CGI in there and stuff, and you're just like, oh god, this is so not 1982 anymore, is it? So
I honestly
yeah,
just
that's
don't
the
know if
biggest.
Argento can make a good movie anymore, and I feel that way about most of the masters. And I don't know about Bava. Like, has he done anything recently?
Nothing too recent. I mean, he did Ghost Son, I believe, in like 06, 07. It was good. It doesn't really. I mean, it feels like an Italian film, not so much a Lamberto film. It feels different. It feels a little bit different.
It's rough, man.
Like a
It's
lot of
sad.
like the later Italian films don't have that feel. Like when you watch Italian films, it just it's Italian right away.
Oh yeah,
Some of
especially the
later
ones
ones.
from the 70s and 80s, dude.
Yeah, they're just they have that type of feel to them and look and everything, and a lot of later ones don't capture that. Especially, I mean, Dario Argento's the third film in the Mother's trilogy, Mother of Tears. That's a great example. I mean, it feels like an Italian film, but the effects and everything are just like it's just so AWOL from what you were feeling and seeing before. It's actually crazy, and like I've heard people say that they love the film and stuff, but I'm like, why? It's so weird. But that is a
That's
prime
funny.
example of what I wouldn't want Demons 3 to turn out like would be, Mother of Tears. Like I don't hate that film or anything. I just think that the movie felt really rushed and the effects were kind of cheaply done and stuff. If they're going to make a Demons film, take the time and redo it, or not redo it, but just do it properly. Who knows? Maybe it could kind of spark something. I mean, maybe we need something like this just to kind of spark like a new wave of Italian cinema. I mean, I know, Kyle, I know you're a
Well,
big fan
there
of
was that
Italian.
Sandman film that Argento was working on too. I don't know if I know there was an Indiegogo campaign. And then what was the other one? Aren't they like remaking like Shockwaves or something like that? Or what are they remaking? Tom Savini and somebody else, I think.
Nightmare City.
Nightmare City. That's what it is. So I mean, it seems like maybe there's sort of some interest in sort of getting some of these crews together and doing these like
Mhm.
Italian films or whatever. But I mean, I don't know. Like I'm all for it. Like I obviously like I would love to see. Well, I haven't even seen any of the Demons films, but I mean, I would love to see any master keep working. Like,
Yeah.
I still just hope like because I've always been the person that like roots for like the 38-year-old UFC fighter who's like on a title run or something. Like I
Well,
want him to
he's
define the
basically
odds, defy
he's
the
basically
odds.
the
Yeah.
underdog now. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you just like nobody in the world expects him to be champion again,
Yeah.
or for the first time or whatever. And I always want them to be just because it goes
You're rooting for
against
Rocky.
essentially Rocky when he gets old. So yeah, I always want to see anybody add to their filmography, and even better if it could be good, right? So
I would actually like to know what's going on with that Sandman film because I know it's been in pre-production. Like I check up on IMDb every once in a while and I've tried to find out. I can't really find anything on it, so I'm wondering if it's like actually still in pre-production.
I
or
thought
if they
I've
just
seen
haven't
a little movement maybe couple months ago.
really.
Yeah. Do you know? Did you know if it got its? Well, shit. It actually did get its budget. Um, it asked for $165,000 on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, and it made $195,000.
Wow.
So it actually got its goal. So we actually have to get this film now. Like
Nice.
so. I assume, and that was in December 3rd of 2014 that the campaign closed. So, Iggy Pop stars in it.
Interesting. So I'm also seeing on here. I clicked on here, and Suspiria. It says the remake is in pre-production right now, and Dario Argento is based on his characters and stuff. So that actually is really, really happening.
I don't know. That's been in pre-production for like 4 years.
I know. It's so crazy.
So who knows? So yeah, that little movement on Demons 3 It was just honestly like that wasn't even worth reporting news, but it did spark a conversation, so I'm not hating on it. Anyway, after that we have Legless Corpse Films has acquired the distribution rights to a horror anthology sequel titled Volumes of Blood Horror Stories. Have you guys seen the original Volumes of Blood?
No.
Okay.
I did see the edition that they were putting out. It looked pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, so there's a limited steelbook, a Blu-ray, and a DVD, all hitting April 26th, exclusively at leglesscorpsefilms.com and amazon.com. Check it out if you wish. I don't really know much about it, but I thought it was cool looking at least. So
Yeah, the cover of the first one looks pretty freaking sweet.
Yes, definitely. So let's see what else we got here. So Kino announced The Pit on Blu-ray, which fucking figures. I said it in my video, like my literal last DVD update. I was like, well, I scored The Pit.
Yeah, I know.
Back here, and I'm pretty excited about that because I'd never seen this film. It'll probably get announced like right after I do this video. It didn't come out. It didn't get announced right after I did the video, but like a month later, which is so ridiculous. That happens to me so many times.
Oh man, me too, man. Like with the Red Queen kills 7 times.
Yeah.
I picked that up and then I posted a picture on my Instagram, and that very day, or no, it was the next day, it got announced by Arrow on Blu-ray. I was like, okay. That is so good. That's just so typical. But that's amazing. The Pit getting released by Kino. Oh, that's so good. It's gonna sell well.
Maybe I don't know what that means because I know that initially was an Anchor Bay title, correct?
Yeah.
So I don't know what's up with some of the rates of their films. It seems like they kind of filter out all over the place a little bit, but not all at once. It's like very slow. So yeah, that's happening. They're also releasing The Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane, which I also picked up a couple months ago on DVD. So yeah, I'm not upgrading that. After that, just kind of a last little couple things here. Creep Show called there's gonna be a feature-length documentary coming out called Just Desserts: The Making of Creep Show, and only has a UK release date now, which is October. But I'm sure it'll hit the US eventually. Actually, I'm tripping because Synapse just announced it. I forgot about that. It's not in this article. Didn't Synapse just announce that?
Which one?
Just Desserts: The Making of Creep Show.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So actually, this article is old or something because I do remember that happening.
Yeah, and then they actually Synapse released or announced another title today too. It was like, I'm not even sure what it was. But then I'm thinking to myself, like, where the hell's all the other ones? Where the fuck is Popcorn and all this other shit? Like that was announced like years ago.
No, right?
Snaps is the weirdest company.
Yeah.
They just all of a sudden announce things and they're out like next month, and then all these ones that they announced like the big titles, the big sellers like Popcorn and all those ones. They just there's not even updates on them. Fuck, they're a weird company, man.
Just to let you guys know, Scream Greats Volume 1, which was a cool Fangoria produced thing from 1986, is supposedly going to be added as a feature on that Blu-ray release.
Nice.
Yeah. And the final little bit of news I have here is Scream Factory announced The Boy Who Cried Werewolf from 1973.
Yeah, I saw that today earlier on the page. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, that's totally awesome.
I always get excited for those like sort of 70s, early 80s ones. I really like the 70s releases just because it's usually 100% a film that I haven't seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this one's like super obscure too, I think. So that's really awesome.
Yeah.
More 70s goodness for the collection. It's awesome. The Boy That Cried Werewolf. That's a great title.
Yeah, so that's kind of a shoot from the hip style news week for us guys. Apologize for a little bit of the fumbles, but I think it turned out better than I expected. Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Chill.
Yeah.
Chill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the news, and I guess getting into mood swings here. With the DVD and Blu-ray releases for April 5th, 2016. First up here, we got one from well, our good friends over at Shout Factory. Scream Factory is releasing a film. I don't know. Oh, yeah, this is IFC. This is an IFC from their IFC deal, and it's called Horror. Now, the consensus on this one I've heard so far is
It's called hashtag horror.
Hashtag, yeah, you're right. Hashtag horror. I heard this one is like atrocious. So another one of these kind of technological horror films that apparently
I've
does
heard
not work.
really bad things about that movie, and that's why I've not watched it.
Yeah, I've heard from a couple different people that it was like atrocious. So that's not exciting right there at all.
Not at all.
No. Yeah, next up here from Arrow. So if you guys did not pick up the Black Cats box set, these are being released individually now, so you can pick up Lucio Fulci's The Black Cat on a single edition for, like I said, everyone that didn't pick up the box set. So if you want that one, grab it. Then we got one here from, who is releasing this one? Dark Sky Films is releasing a film called Cherry Tree.
I think I heard bad stuff about that, actually.
I don't know what it is about movies with cherry in the title, but for the most part, they all suck.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't I just watch a movie called Cherry Tree Lane like a couple of weeks ago? that was horrible.
I was just thinking that too, man. It's like, oh, that movie is fucking terrible.
Yeah, it was not any good.
Cherry Bomb, horrible,
Ugh.
terrible revenge film. Ugh. But I think there's a couple good ones out there. But yeah, Cherry Tree. Yeah, Dark Sky Films then releasing a lot of like contemporary films now. They don't really go after the older ones, which is kind of a shame because they have a really good back catalog of older films. Now this release right here, I still have got my copy, and I've noticed that a lot of people have already got their box set. But the Death Walks Twice box set, 2 films by Luciano Ercole, Death Walks on High Heels and Death Walks at Midnight. Yeah,
This wasn't. I thought that was last week's release. Was it not?
I think this one just came out. Oh, maybe it was last. Yeah, it's on here.
What was your release of the week last week?
I don't even know if it was that one or not. I can't remember. No, it says April 5th.
You had
oh, you know what it is? This is the American release of it. That's right. They're a week apart. So if you're waiting on your American pre-order,
which is the better version because it doesn't have that stupid 18 thing on it.
But then again, I get all those free points from Arrow, and then I just go and buy really cool stuff for free. So I don't mind it. Doesn't really bother me. But yeah, this is the American release. It came out a week later. So I think it had something to do with when they got their copies in or something. I can't remember reading about that. But yeah, so another one here from Scream Factory and the IFC line. It's called The Hollow. Now,
I've heard better things about that one.
I have. It's just that name, The Hollow. Isn't there a couple other films with the exact same title? It's not too original, so it's like another one of those things you're going to go to fucking search and then 400 films are going to come up. Hate that. It's annoying.
Yeah.
Really, really can't stand that. But now this release right here, I don't know what the hell's going on with this. Released by Film Rise.
Oh my god, man. These covers look stupid as shit with their Blu-ray edition on it.
No, they're so freaking ugly, and I believe Film Rise just like merged with Artsploitation. They're releasing their films now and stuff, which unfortunately they don't even say Artsploitation on them anymore. I saw the new film that got released.
Who had it?
Andy, and I actually got him to show me a picture of the spine, and it looks so generic, and it's a burnt copy. And
man,
I'm just like,
wait, it's a burnt copy?
Yeah,
it's a burn on demand again.
Yeah, they're burn on demand.
They just started pressing copies last year.
I know. Apparently, I learned from Derek that all Film Rise releases are burn on demands because he has like 3 or 4 of them or something like that.
I need to pull in Ray and get an interview or something. I need to know what the hell is going on with Artsploitation. This is getting, I love Artsploitation, man. That was my highlight of my year last year for like some contemporary stuff.
Yeah, man.
So
they released some good
man.
stuff.
I was having fun with those. We covered them on the show. The spines are numbered. I got excited to get their new releases in the mail every month. Man, dude.
I know. I think we reviewed like 10 films from Artsploitation last year.
Yeah, dude.
It was like 10 or 11 or something like that. But anyways, getting to the film in question here, it's called The Sec. And it's got this really, really terrible cover with this really shitty banner on top that says Blu-ray edition, like JP noted. It's awful.
Fucking garbage is what it is.
It looks really atrocious. Yeah, I don't know what the hell's up with that, but unfortunately, yeah. If you're not into the burn on demand type thing, I know some people really kind of get up in arms about it, and they get all pissy
They
with
don't
it,
work
and other
on
people don't.
Xboxes.
Nope.
So I've heard. Andy said that he went to go watch it, and he was like, "Doesn't work on my Xbox. I got to watch it in the other room." I was like,
I had to
"Fuck."
like watch all the ones that like I think I got burn on demand copy of like Der Samurai, and then I got one of Horsehead.
Head. Yep, those were
And
the
I had
two.
to like watch them in my computer because my Xbox wouldn't play them. So I was like, this sucks.
Shit, that's brutal, man. All right, moving along. The second half of that Black Cats box set. Your Vice is a Locked Room, and Only I Have the Key, released by Arrow. Yeah, so solo release of that.
Yeah, that's actually
really,
a good movie.
Yeah, really fantastic. I mean, Sergio Martino, great Italian director. Awesome movie, though. Probably one of the weirdest titles ever.
I hate that title. I really do.
It's so giallo. It's awesome, man. It's a title I can never remember. I'm always like, your Vice is a room, and I have the... Oh, fuck it. You know that Vice movie?
Yeah.
I can never remember.
No, I remember trying to review it, or like even in the update, and I kept fucking it up, and I'm like, that stuff frustrates me deeply.
Next up here, we got a film called Anguish, released by Entertainment One, or E1, however you want to call it. I don't know, man. This cover, man. This cover. I don't really know. It just got this girl standing on it with a knife.
You just say skip.
I know, it just looks so beyond generic. But of course, the selling point of Anguish is that it says based on true events. No, it's not really. I'm just joking. That really just annoys me, because most of these movies are
selling point, dude. The selling point is it's from the producers of The Strangers.
Oh yeah, even better, the producers of The Strangers, because that means everything, right? Yeah, totally. Next up here, we got one called Ava's Possessions, and of course, it's from our good friends over at Entertainment One, or E1, once again. And The Exorcism is just the beginning. I love that tagline, man.
God.
It's so bad. It's so bad. Like, even the cover's horrible. Kind of like the font, though. I'm not gonna lie.
I do. Like, it kind of reminds me of like either like a porno or like a late night like strip club.
Yeah, man. It reminds me of the live nudes.
Yeah.
Live nudes kind of fluorescent lights, whatever the fuck you want to call them. I can't remember. But, yeah, you know what I'm.
Neons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and for the people that were interested in Cherry Tree, it's also coming to DVD. it's on DVD and Blu-ray. But because a lot of these companies, man, aren't doing that. Like, you'll just have stuff on Blu-ray and then just on DVD. But yeah, so if you're not into the Blu-ray thing, it's on DVD. Yeah. Now, this is a release I'm pretty stoked about, because this is a film I didn't really know what to expect from it when I watched it on Netflix last year, and really, really fucking enjoyed it, man. I thought it was great. Released by Sony, and it's called Creep.
Yeah, and you can grab that for super, super reasonable price at $9.99 on US Amazon.
On Amazon.ca, I believe it was like $18.19.
Not worth it.
I was like, what kind of fucking price is that?
That's a weird price.
I know, that's what I said. I actually made a joke about it because our good friend Jill Ann, she posted a picture of it. Of the Amazon, it was like a screenshot of the Amazon order site, and it said $18.19. I was like, what the fuck is with the price, man? First of all, why is it $18 when it's $10 down in the US? Anyways, I'm not going to get on that tangent again. But anyways,
Creep was really good. I really liked Creep.
It was a really good film. It was really. I love the end. The ending
it was a sleeper hit for sure.
It was one of those films that the whole time you're watching, you're like, where is this going? It was so intriguing. Mm-hmm. It was intriguing. I really enjoyed it. So, oh man, this one right here, I kind of laughed about. Our good friends over at Entertainment One, are they the new Wild Eye?
Right, they're trying to be.
Movie? I think they're trying to be, man. Deadly Weekend.
See, Wild Eye at least has decent covers. 9 out of 10
Deadly
times.
Weekend. Wow, that's a fucking hilarious title.
I know. I love on Amazon that it's actually spelt with 3 E's. It's like Deadly Weekend.
I feel like these next few we could just fucking just don't. They're garbage. All these next ones look so bad.
I love it. Starring Sarah Jean Underwood. Okay. But yeah, terrible cover arts, man. I'm assuming this one right here it's from a company called NAMP, whatever that is. Exit 14. And I don't know. It looks like a possession type thing again. It's got a chick who's dead on the...
in it.
Tom Sizemore, John Schneider. It's got this like dead girl in her wedding dress.
Looks
Once
stupid.
she has you, she'll never let you go. Till death do us never part.
Dude, it's just
Wow.
It's terrible, man. What's with these? These are, oh my god, it's getting even worse. Here's another one from 4 Digital Media. Wow, it's been a while since I've had one of these on here, and it's called The Exorcism of Anna Eklund.
I still can't believe they're doing these. Like, Jesus
This is
Christ.
This is
They
incredible.
actually starting to make me mad.
The Exorcism of the 22 Shots podcast.
Dude, listen. Okay. Like, you have the most generic cover paired with
Oh
the
my
most generic title, paired with the most generic cliche, paired with the most generic tagline, paired with the most generic company that doesn't even probably exist. What the hell, dude? Like, it's
Like,
so
we're
bad.
sitting here talking shit about these movies, and they're probably like the best fucking horror movies ever made.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
How about you trade your 1800 Blu-rays on that?
You know, I always give shit people for judging films and stuff. I always, because JP is like, Troma, every film that Troma's released, they fuck it. They suck. I'm like, you haven't seen that film. He's like, you can't judge that. But, you know, this is all fun and, you know, for fun and, you know, show purposes and stuff. But you got to, these legitimately look atrocious.
And I
Like, I'm
would
not
not
gonna-
subject myself to watching The Exorcism of Anna Eklund.
I have a hard time watching anything that says the exorcism of ...
I-
you
Yeah,
know?
insert
like-
generic name like Anna
Anna Eklund, like,
Or
the
Mary.
Swedish goddess. It's like the
or
Swedish goddess.
Emily.
But these fuckers over at 4 Digital Media here are charging $10 for this thing. Ugh, and of course, it's based on a true story. No, it's not.
Listen, if somebody was
bullshit.
like, "Hey, I will give you this money. I want you to direct a movie. It's going to be an exorcism movie, and it's going to be called The Exorcism of Emily Atkins." And they're like, you know,
See what you did
you're
there,
not going to
Jim.
make any money here, but, you know,
Yep.
you get to direct a movie. And, you know, it's pretty low budget. The script is, you know, pretty weak, but, you know, we're going to touch it up a bit. I would say hell no. I would be just like, no, I'm not doing it. I don't want to do that. That's stupid.
I know,
I hate
right?
these movies. I hate 'em.
I totally feel it, man. But oh wow.
How can you
So
look
next-
at that and it not piss you off?
Oh, it's just it's
Pretty
Ugh.
bad.
honestly, I just want to punch the wall.
It's like
right now.
borderline.
I'm so mad.
It's like
I'm right bent out of
the
shit.
very idea that you want people to pay for these is like criminal.
Hey man, they're still making
It's
fucking.
snake oil.
Children
Damn
of
it,
the
they're
Corn
selling us
movies.
snake oil.
They're still making Children of the Corn movies. We can't be saying anything about movies
You know what?
that are
At the
like.
top of the show, I was going to ask you, hey, Kyle, did you hear that our Children of the Corn show is outdated and we're going to have to do it all over again?
I think I listened to something somewhere
Do
where
it all over again.
you guys were talking about that. So was there another one coming out or something?
Yep.
Or
Yeah, 10th one.
Children of the Corn, The Runaway.
they should
And I-
fucking kill themselves. Like
I kind of heard.
stupid.
I kind of heard that this new movie is like a sequel to the TV remake. I don't know if that's
the word on
100%
the
true.
street. That's what I
That
told
is-
you.
That is the word on the gangsta streets. So if it is, I mean, really, we all had the remake pretty high.
Like,
Yeah,
it's a-
it's
so-
surprisingly high.
So
Yeah.
talking about these movies, so me and my buddy came down and visited me this week from Philadelphia. He's the biggest Hellraiser fan that you could ever meet. This guy knows everything to do with Hellraiser, like no matter if it's trivia or you know who the directors were, you know their backgrounds. This dude knows everything. We were talking about Children of the Corn and we were talking about the Hellraiser movies, and the last two movies in those two franchises were Dimension Extreme movies, and they were fucking horrible. Like Genesis and what was it, Revelations, I think, for Hellraiser. I think it was like Hellraiser Revelations or whatever.
It was.
And
Yeah.
fucking like we were like, why do they keep doing this? Like they're just continuing to ruin something that started out, for the most part decent. And now with the Children of the Corn, like Hellraiser, they're talking about doing another movie.
No, they're not talking about it.
Well, they are.
It's being filmed.
Yeah. They're doing another movie for that. They're doing another movie. It's like, when will they fucking stop? Like,
Well,
what is
I'll
this?
tell you when they'll stop. They won't. They'll stop for 5 years, and then when their rights are about to expire, they'll make another one. We talked about this on the show.
crazy,
You obviously
man.
do not.
They'll make
listen
that new
to
Hellraiser
podcasts.
movie. They'll make that Hellraiser movie in 5 days and put it out. and they'll retain the rights, and then
And they'll
5
talk
years
about doing a
later,
remake for 5
Well,
years.
and
I
then they'll
understand.
repeat.
I understand the concept, and we did talk about it. But the thing is, I want to know who the people are behind this that just think this is good ideas. These movies can't be making that
They
much
don't
money.
think it's good ideas. They definitely don't. They literally probably see it as just like, we have to make one or we lose the property rights. But
I mean, they quite obviously don't care. They're not trying to have original films.
I guarantee you that they sell though. Because I remember when Revelations came out, like everybody was just so curious, and I remember everybody showing it in their update. Including I don't think I made videos back then, but I did buy it a few years later, and I did check it out immediately when it came out. I personally did not find it as atrocious as most people. It is a very bad movie, but
I don't know, man. I never watched Revelations. My friend, when we were talking about it, he was like, I don't even consider that a Hellraiser movie.
well,
Yeah,
I don't consider any of those Hellraiser movies Hellraiser movies past 4 because they're not. But I guess
they're actually not.
Yeah,
they're actually not.
At least Hellraiser was actually Hellraiser Revelations was actually designed as a Hellraiser movie. Like there's like the skin, the skinned alive stuff, and like coming back. Like it actually has Hellraiser. They brought back the old bum from the. I mean, like they actually like. Maybe if you had like another 6 months of preparation and a few more rewrites of the script, and Doug Bradley, you would have had a solid Hellraiser.
A little bigger budget too.
Yeah, that's
But
anyway, after that we have The Hoarder.
Wow.
Yes, of course.
PLT made this.
Released from our good friends over at Image. Now Image doesn't seem to release a whole pile of stuff anymore. Probably for good reasons, really.
I don't think I got a press release on that actually.
On The Hoarder?
Yeah, I don't think I did.
But I actually this one made me laugh when I saw this earlier today. I was kind of looking at the releases, and I was just looking at the cover art. It says The Hoarder, and it's got like this really disgusting face, and I think his lips are like stapled shut or something like that. I think that's what it is. I don't know. But then I read the tagline at the bottom, and it just made me laugh. And it said, "His collection is almost complete." I just thought of us hoarders, that collect ridiculous amounts of movies and shit. And I was like, maybe he's a collector of DVDs and shit. I fucking doubt it. I doubt it, but.
Yeah, so after The Hoarder, it is Lake Fear. Lake Fear.
Let's continue with the horrible names.
Looks like a ghostly of sorts on a lake.
well, maybe, apparently I'm not doing the releases anymore, so
maybe a little cabin fever type shit in there. This one is released by Entertainment One, looking as dreadful as ever. Then after that, we have Telltale. I'm just messing around. Go ahead, Moodz.
You're a fucking dick. Yes, from the good friends over at E1 again, Lake Fear. Man, dude, there's so many goddamn movies like this. Like Lake something, like Dead Lake, blah, blah, blah.
Lake Mungo.
It's been... It's actually not bad. But those are actually pretty good films. But I'm just saying,
Eden Lake is amazing.
Yeah,
Lake Mungo's actually pretty good too. The tagline: "It's been waiting to get under your skin." Jesus Christ, so good. Why is that one right there $11.99? All the other ones were $9.99, but this one happens to be $2 more. Did it have a little bigger budget? Maybe it's the best one. Who knows? Yeah, right. Yeah. So from Alchemy here, we got one called The Tailheart, of course, based on Edgar Allan Poe's short story.
We talked about this last week, starring Rose McGowan.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was that low tier of a releaser. I wouldn't have acted like I was potentially excited for
it. Yeah, who knows? You never know with these type of movies, though, right? Every once in a while, I'll pop one of these things, and I'm like, you know what? The production value on this isn't that bad. It doesn't happen a lot. It's usually like maybe under 1% of the time. But the point is, it happens.
Yeah, so sometimes you're right. You do get them. But I just don't even like taking the risk on them. I just wait for somebody else to find out that they're good and then tell me. Because honestly, I have so much good. Yeah, I have so much good stuff to watch that like I don't even want to mess with this stuff sometimes. That's why you watch them, so we don't have to.
Exactly. I do everyone a solid, man.
Okay, Moodz, question.
Yes.
That was the end of the releases, unless you have anything else.
That's what I have. That's
Okay,
what I have for
so
this week.
question number 2. Release of the week, but I don't
I know.
think you can do Death Walks twice.
I know.
Because
That's so strange.
we did it last
And
week.
and I believe the odd thing is that I've actually picked the Black Cat set as the release before.
Mm-hmm.
You know so does that eliminate the Black Cat and your Vice is the Vice one?
No, because I think it's technically a different release because you can only pick one. You couldn't pick both. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I guess. Well, in that case, then we're going back to Arrow and we're going with Sergio Martino's classic Giallo. Your Vice is a locked room, and only I have the key.
And I approved that message because I did really, really enjoy that one as well. And looking at everything here, I mean, Creep is really good, but it's not really a release. You know, that's just a movie. At least the Arrow is a release.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
that is going to conclude the DVD and Blu-ray releases again for April 5th, 2016. So make sure to go out, run, real fast to the store and pick up all those E1 releases because they sound awesome.
Do it.
Just do it. Just do it.
Do not do it. Don't do it. Wow. Looking at Kyle posting stuff on Facebook right now.
Oh, wow. Kyle's posting on Facebook right now?
It was like 50 minutes ago.
The show was longer than 50 minutes, man. You can post. Holy fucking Jeremy over here. He's posting on Facebook and talking to his friends, and he's like,
I mean, it was related
up,
to the
what's
show,
up,
so I can't hate on him too much.
Tell him what I posted.
At least next week,
it's a picture of Victor Salva, Justin Long, and the chick that was in the first Jeepers Creepers, and it says #never forget. It's actually quite funny. That's like one of 3 things that Kyle has done since I've known him that has.
I don't think anybody that's liked that photo understands like the humor in that. I don't know if they understand who that is that I posted.
What is the expression on Justin Long's face? Is it like pure horror? He's like, I'm not telling anybody.
No, he looks actually extra happy and.
It looks like he's touching, like Victor Salva's touching his penis. He's smiling.
Oh, that's so wrong that he looks he looks over happy.
Yeah, he's like super smiley.
Oh no, that's gross.
So,
all right,
anyway,
so moving along into the rest of Mood Swings here and into the voicemails and questions. So what do we want to start with? Do we want to start with
Let's go with the questions written.
We'll do with the questions first.
Yep.
All right, so what do we have for questions this week? Anybody know?
Yeah, I do. Brandon DeWitt, he asks us, since I'm in the land down under, I'm going to leave the question here. This question is for everybody. Everyone, what is your favorite band/artist?
Oh, yeah. Favorite band/artist. Well, my favorite group of all time is Tribe Called Quest. And in that light, we unfortunately lost Five Dog last week. So I was like really, really fucking destroyed. It was terrible news for me. But yeah, my favorite group is Tribe Called Quest. So yeah, now I'm all bummed out. I don't even want to do the rest of the show.
I mean, I guess Kyle could go. It's going to be something lame and stupid anyway.
No, I think my favorite group of all time.
Anal Cunt.
Dude, that's a good one. That's actually a good pick there. Anal Cunt, yeah. No, I fucking actually saw Anal Cunt live when I was young, but
nobody cares.
I would say Deftones probably because I've always.
I don't even know what that is.
You've never listened to the Deftones? Are you serious,
No.
JP?
What are they? What do they do?
They're a band. They fucking have musical instruments and they bang on
what
the
kind
drum.
of band?
They're like, I don't know what you would consider them, like new age, new metal. I don't
listen
know
to that stuff.
You're the only person that's listening to this fucking podcast right now that never heard of the fucking Deftones. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
I mean, favorite band/artist.
Let me guess, Eminem.
Yeah, probably Eminem.
Hit it on the head.
Eminem or Blink-182.
Hey, Blink's a good one.
Yeah.
You've heard of Blink-182? You've never heard of the Deftones? Really? It's the same time period.
I grew up on Blink-182. I didn't grow up on Deftones.
Yeah, but I mean, if you were listening to Blink-182, they were all over everything.
I didn't listen to Blink-182. Like, like early on. I was raised on hip hop, and Eminem was like, you know, like 99, and that was like one of my first exposures to like somebody new, and you know, I fucking love Eminem. And Blink 182 I kind of got into a little bit later, but when I was like sort of like 13ish. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably mine.
If I had to pick a metal band, I'm probably going to go with Amon Amarth right now because I love Amon Amarth.
I just don't like metal.
I like In Flames a lot. That's another one of my favorites.
Yeah, I got a lot of In Flames records, man. Do you know? Have you ever listened to Amon Amarth before?
I love Amon Amarth.
Yeah,
I love
well, hold up.
Dude, man, I've seen like live, dude. Those guys are like fucking amazing,
They're
man.
like Viking metal, dude.
I just picked up their new album like yesterday or 2
Really?
days ago. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. It's really, really good stuff.
You want to know what I thought Kyle was gonna say?
What?
One of the first times I met Kyle, he was like, "Dude, do you listen to Drake? Been listening to this album all fucking week, dude."
I love that.
He's like, "I love it."
Hey, I love some fucking Drake too, man. I ain't gonna lie to you.
God, how much I detest Drake is just like unbelievable. But
You know his name's not really Drake, right?
How can you dislike a walking meme? Really?
Yeah,
It's pretty much what he is. Is a
Right.
walking meme.
Started from the bottom, now I'm here.
Yeah. That's like his worst song. I fucking hate that song.
Anyway, next question. Kyle Dawson asks, "Are you picking up Jesus Christ? Are you picking up Bride of Reanimator this month? Does the Pope shit in the woods?" Next question. I am not picking up Bride of Reanimator this month.
I have mine pre-ordered. Yeah, from Arrow in the UK. So that is a yes. I am definitely grabbing that. I was actually on the fence about it at first. I wasn't going to, and I was like, "Fuck it, I might as well." Might as well just grab it.
I just bought it on DVD, so hell no, I'm not picking it up.
Yeah, I have it on DVD and I actually have it on VHS, so I probably won't pick it up.
Yeah, I really don't
Steelbook,
need
I
to.
think.
Yeah, I really don't need to, but I'm just, why not? So
I mean, it's a nice release. I mean, it looks really
Yeah.
good.
Mm-hmm,
it's just fucking. It's like insane. Some of the releases that these films are getting. Like that's the sequel.
Reanimator Trilogy 2016. Let's do it.
Exactly.
So, next question. Dylan Henshaw wants to know, what are your favorite physical releases thus far in 2016, and what release are you looking forward to this year? Pretty good question, honestly. I haven't really thought of that. Moodz, go.
Some of my favorite releases from this year. I have to say Monster Dog. That was a really cool release. Very obscure film from 84, 85 with Alice Cooper. Really cool stuff. I gotta say the Hellraiser set, the newer released Hellraiser set that just came out. It's fantastic. It actually comes with the Leviathan documentary, which I watched too. Really cool stuff. Arrow's Mutilator. Yeah, that's boner. That's bonerlicious right there. Pieces, man. Probably. Oh, dude, the releases is so sick, man. Bread and Circus, actually, I'm gonna say because it was a film I've been looking forward to seeing for like, over 10 years or 12 years or something. And then Wildeye of all companies end up putting this film out. It's like from the early 2000s, and I was just so happy to see it. I was like, that's the type of shit, man. These older obscure films, great stuff. More Arrow stuff. Pray for Death, Rage of Honor, not horror, but classic fucking just wicked ninja films. American Horror Project, yeah, that probably like that and Pieces are like the release of the year. Yeah, I could probably go on. I could go on. Vincent Price, but the one that I haven't received yet that I'm really looking forward to, I know it's out and everyone probably has it right now, Sinful Dwarf. Of course, mine's just been on back order, but the one I'm looking forward to is the Killer Dame set. So that is the one that I'm really looking forward to.
So mine is probably it's a little lower tier, I guess, but I really was genuinely super stoked for Mosquito. Like that was like one of the films that I wanted to see re-released for the longest time. So that's kind of my front runner right now. I haven't picked up a lot of the releases or any of the releases Moodz really mentioned, but like that Pieces release I really want to get. And I did pick up the Vincent Price set 3, but I haven't watched any of the movies yet. Also, the what was the other one that you mentioned that I wanted? The Arrow
Mutil-
Hellraiser set and the Mutilator, yeah, both of those.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are mine. What I'm looking forward to for the rest of this year, though, shit, man. I mean, I'm hoping that we see a Phantasm set.
Oh yeah, the Phantasm. Well, it's supposed to be coming.
Yeah.
Fucking stoked about that, man. If it actually does come out, oh, that's gonna be so amazing. That's good choice. Good
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah,
for
that,
sure,
that would
for sure.
probably
Yeah,
would
that's
probably be one to look forward to.
I'll tell you a
definitely.
set that I was really digging, though it didn't come out this year, and it's surprising, is the Leprechaun set, dude. The little Blu-ray set they put out. That shit's dope. Those transfers are pretty good, and they actually have special features, which I was like, wow, I didn't expect that.
Except for what on the first film? Is there none on the first one?
No, I haven't made my way through it, but I think there's like a 4 or 5 part featurette on each of the discs, and the first part, I watched the first part on the first disc, but it's like it's all them talking about the first Leprechaun. Like they got Warwick, and they got the guy who did it, the Jones, or I forget his name, who did the first one. But yeah, it's really cool. Like I was like, wow, these films have never received any love in terms of features. There's commentaries, so I was like, cool, man. So I can't wait to. I wish I could have watched more of it during St. Patrick's Day, because I watched the second film, the third film, and the Origins, and I watched one of the special features, and yeah, so save it for next St. Patrick's Day. All right,
Cool.
what about you, Kyle?
Really, something that a couple of releases. I mean, and these releases I do not own, which I keep putting off. Blood Rage. Did that come out this year, or did it come out at the end of last year? I can't remember.
I
This
think
year.
it was the end of last year.
Yeah, I mean, I've been putting that off like crazy, but I really want it. That the Mutilator, obviously been putting that off as well, but I really want it. The Audition release from Arrow, the Steelbook, I really wanted that, but I didn't really need it because I have the Scream Factory two disc release. But the Steelbook looked. I mean, I don't even collect Steelbooks, but the Steelbook of that looked really cool. And then I would probably agree with JP. I didn't really think about the Phantasm release. I heard about that, but that would be a good one to look forward to.
Well, it's not
So,
officially announced.
yeah, I mean that would be a good one to look forward to if they did actually release it. So
Notice one release that none of us said. Tenebrae.
Well, it's... yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I should have added to anything Mondo Macabre, like Symptoms is coming out, and some cool stuff. Everything that they release is always really good. So
All right.
always get stoked because it's always like so far in between releases. So you get really, really stoked for them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So with that said, let's hop into the voicemails. Thank you for your written questions. First up, we have a voicemail from the homie Rob.
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia again. Just happened to be on the highway driving home from my brother-in-law for Easter, and well, I had a thought. I just want to share real quick and a question real quick. I just made another UK order, and I found the 1951 version of The Thing from Another World, with James Arness and company there. Anyways, the interesting thing about this pickup is John Carpenter provides, it's a 2-disc edition. John Carpenter provides the commentary track for the movie. This is amazing to me because I've always thought, how awesome would it be if John Carpenter, having done The Thing and whatnot, provided a commentary for the old black and white movie. And sure enough, I found it on the UK site. And so my question is, if you could pick any director to go back and do an audio commentary of an old black and white movie you love, what would it be? Or who would it be, and what would be the movie? And anyways, I cannot wait till this movie gets to me and sit there and listen to John Carpenter talk about The Thing from Another World, which is just freaking awesome. So anyways, just thought I'd share that real quick and a quick question, and you guys take care again. All right, bye.
Dude, so Rob, that is really cool that you found that, because I would have never even considered to look for something like that. But that is really, really neat. I never knew that existed. Thanks for pointing that
awesome.
out. And also, I want to say, Rob.
Look at Rob showing us some shit now.
Yeah.
He's always giving us props for showing him stuff, and like this has blew my mind. Like my headphones fell
That's
off
what
my
I
head.
was going to mention. Rob has been doing these little videos on our Facebook page where he kind of highlights a film that we talked about that he went out and watched or bought based on our recommendation. And I just love that. I think that's one of the coolest things that anybody's ever done, related to us. Just because it's like, wow, man, like one, it's very cool to see like what he actually shows, and two, it feels good to like hear that he discovered cool films based on our podcast, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what do you guys think about that question?
That's an amazing question. Oh my God, there's so many. There's like so many combinations I could put together. I didn't know about this one. You didn't send me this voicemail, so this is just off my head. But the first thing I thought of was Quentin Tarantino doing a commentary for Blood and Black Lace by Mario Bava.
That'd be sick.
Which isn't black and white.
Oh, did he say black and white?
He did, but I'm sure that kind of that counts.
Well, you know what? I'll just say anything. The Girl Who Knew Too Much by Mario Bava. That's a black and white film. So.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry,
honestly,
I missed the black and white part, but Tarantino's such a big Italian, like he doesn't even consider himself an American horror or a filmmaker. He just, he kind of takes from other things and stuff. And I like that though, man. He's got such a knowledge of film, and he's just such a fanboy. I'd like to hear his commentary on any Italian films, really. I think it'd be amazing.
Yeah, I think that's a good go-to, man. Quentin Tarantino. I would like to hear a commentary on any film that's not his, because he's just going to go fanboy, and he's going to tell you all this stuff about it that you didn't know, and all this stuff that influenced him. Like, I think that would be great. That's a good choice, Moodz. What about you, Kyle?
I would say, just for the simple fact that recently, well, not recently, but within the past couple of months, I watched for the first time Bad Taste. I would say Peter Jackson maybe doing like a commentary on Night of the Living Dead, because I know that he's very heavily influenced by like old school zombie stuff for a lot of his earlier movies. So I think that would be a pretty cool commentary, I think.
You know what's cool is that's public domain, and he could literally just do that and release it like legally. Peter Jackson, do it. Come on, man.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I'm going to go with Robert Zombie, and he's going to go back and do a commentary on The Blob from the 50s, because he was once going to remake The Blob, and I'd be curious to see what he has to say about it.
It'd be interesting to hear Rob Zombie do a commentary of the movie White Zombie.
Yeah, I thought about that one too.
Yeah.
Just because, of course, that's what he named his band after.
Yeah. But I just never seen White Zombie, so.
Oh, really? It's good. It's a cool film.
So, thank you for the voicemail, Rob. We have one more from Rob, so let's go with that one.
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here. I guess I got to redo that. First one came in a little too choppy. It was on the highway, so sorry about that. But it was Easter, so I think I said Happy Easter to everyone, and I think I pretty much talked about what happened the other night when I put in my Anthropophagus Blu-ray, and it did not. That big warning thing came up, and had a heart attack. And but very, very thankful to the Facebook site, and Gary, Neal, and Moodz all kind of chimed in real fast and kind of redirected me in what I needed to do. And I think the point of that voicemail was just to point out just how great that Facebook group is. I mean, for things just like that. I guess it just happened too fast, and I was a little too tired and frustrated to go looking for directions and all that stuff. And so that quick post got me redirected pretty quick, and that's a great thing. Just having that that Facebook community that you guys have had going, and I think I just pointed out that how much I appreciate it, and that it's there, and that there's a community of guys and gals, I guess, and that can kind of help somebody out in a quick fix like that with a technological problem, and so just very, very appreciative of that. So thanks again to Gary, Neal, and Moodz who kind of bailed me out that night. I probably would have had a heart attack or something, but got everything redirected and fine, and that came my way. And the story about Zach throwing his player was freaking hilarious. Anyone who's got his piece up.
Yeah, Rob. Giving us props in the Facebook group, giving you guys props more so than me. But I love the Facebook group. I always say that I think it's one of the best groups, if not the best group on the internet that I've been a part of. And yeah, once again, proving my point.
Yeah, man. No problem, Rob. Just glad to help. Glad it worked out for you. I mean, we've all been there. Same thing happened to me a couple years back. I got my region free player. Didn't know much about them. I knew that my DVDs worked. I tried my DVDs right away. And I think what people fail to forget is that you got to change the region for Blu-ray. So when you pop in a Blu-ray, and if you haven't changed the region, yeah, you'll get that warning. So and then you're like, what the fuck do I do? So I literally got some help from one of my videos. I was doing an update, and I said, well, I have this Blu-ray I tried to pop in. I think it was a Loved Ones, and it wouldn't play. And a couple people gave me some pointers, and I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty easy. But a lot of players are different. The one I have right now is super easy. You just turn it on by pressing the 2. So it's pretty simple. But glad you could help.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Rob,
no
so that's
doubt.
awesome.
No doubt. That's I dream of a world where we're region free.
Yeah.
We don't need these borders keeping us apart. Come on. These region codings. So anyway, we got one more voicemail here, so check this one out.
Well, hey there, 22 shots of Moodz and horror compadres. This is your boy Bubba Ray over here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And I just called in to say, you guys don't give the rednecks enough love. And my boy Kyle knows exactly what I'm talking about, being from South Carolina and everything. But what I'm asking is, what's your favorite horror movie that is based on rednecks? Hold on just a minute, I'm sorry. Bobby J! Bobby J, I done told you, put the damn possum down. Sorry about that. More importantly, what is your favorite horror villain that is also a redneck? So that's all the questions I got. And y'all just have a blessed day, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Yo, do you think that's Dracula?
Got it. It could be. The fuck is that?
Maybe we have a professional voice doer calling it.
Well, somebody was reading the page today because they knew Kyle was on.
Yeah, somebody had to be.
And they called in. That's hilarious.
That is awesome. I love these like gimmicky like voice things because I'm just like, for one, that was actually really good, you know. And I give whoever did that props because you only get one shot, right? You get one shot, and it sounded pretty good. So give them mad props on that.
Is that how y'all talk down there, man?
Yeah, man, we got these fucking fucking cousin fuckers down here and shit. So
fuckers.
Yeah, man, fucking brother and sister fuckers. We got all kinds of incest going on down here. So that's the way they talk. That's what happens.
Dude, that's fucked up, man.
So, yeah, I believe the question was, what's our favorite redneck in a horror movie type deal?
Something that came to mind, and I'll go ahead and start with me. The first thing that came to mind when he said that question is the movie Wolf Creek, the redneck from Wolf Creek. That just, I don't know. That's the
I
first
think
thing
it's
that popped in my mind.
slightly different though, because that's like a outbacky, like it's a little different than the American.
Well, he's still kind of
redneck.
rednecky in a way.
Yeah,
I mean,
I guess
he's like
so.
hicky. I mean, you don't have to necessarily be from the South, to be a redneck. I mean, he's very hicky and like, I don't really know how to explain what a redneck is. I mean, they're fucking rednecks. Like when I look at you and say you're a fucking redneck, you're just fucking like, I don't know, trashy, I guess is the best way to put it. So that's the first thing that just popped in my fucking mind. So
so good. The first thing that came to my mind was, if this counts, is of course Otis from Devil's Rejects, House 1000 Corpses.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty damn redneck, man. I mean,
Trash,
come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, very trashy and stuff. So, I mean, that was the first thing that came to my mind. I just, I don't know.
I think of stuff like Deliverance and shit.
Well, honestly, I actually thought of Deliverance right away, but I don't know, man. Like, some people consider it a horror film, others don't. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with that. I think I have it in my horror collection, but
I
just
have it in
didn't
my
see
horror collection, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't necessarily say like this is a horror film. But it's definitely, I mean, shit. That moment, one moment is more horrific than all of my horror comedies. So,
I know it's terrible.
so yeah, that is the voicemails, fellas.
Sweet.
Yeah. Who did you pick?
I said Deliverance.
Oh, you were actually going with Deliverance?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I didn't really think about that question at all.
I thought you were just okay. I thought you just mentioned Deliverance. Okay, so the rednecks from Deliverance. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought for sure you're gonna say something like Tucker and Dale or something like that, or like Wrong
I've
Turn.
never seen Tucker and Dale.
You've never seen Tucker and
Wrong
Dale?
Turn is like my second one, but I always feel like those are more like hillbillies. You know what I mean?
Hills
I think
have
it's
eyes.
slightly different.
Rednecks, hillbilly. I mean, almost the same. I mean,
It's all the same shit, man. They're all
alternate words, I guess,
disgusting.
for them. I mean, we got rednecks out here,
Well,
man.
I
I call them
always-
fucking hillbillies. And
See, I'm not. I always think of like hillbillies, like West Virginia, like in the mountains, and I think of like rednecks as like southern people who have
Mhm.
rednecks.
I guess there could be a distinctive
Slight
difference
distinction.
between them.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So moving along, I guess that's thank you everybody for your questions and voicemails again. I don't know if that was Dracula. Maybe. I'm gonna say maybe, but if it is, fuck
Well,
man,
if
he
it's
switched
not,
up the
we
voices
have
pretty
two
good.
very talented people instead of one.
Fucking hilarious, man. All right, so getting into a segment that we call Knowledge, which we don't do every week. We just do it whenever we actually have a topic, because sometimes we're kind of lazy over here at the 22 Shots production team, and we just don't have topics, so we just skip over it. But
We need to
I
hire
think,
writers.
yeah, we gotta hire some fucking writers, man. This is crazy. But JP, do we have a topic this week? What is the topic?
VHS. And the
Oh.
reason I chose this topic was because it's funny, but all three of us have sort of had like a little influx of VHS into our collection lately. So I figured that we could just talk briefly about VHS, and I figured we could either talk about like why it's still something that's collectible, or why we're still interested in it, or how do you collect, and how far are you willing to go to collect stuff like that. So Moodz, you want to kick any of those questions off?
Well, I'll start with why I don't go out of my way to like find every single, tape on movie on VHS and stuff. I'll find like if I come across cool editions and stuff, I'll pick them up. But I'm more about finding tapes that haven't been released on DVD or are like long out of print and super hard to find and are just easier to find on VHS. Like recently I found the Amityville Dollhouse tape, and it was still brand new sealed, and that's exactly what I'm looking for, because the DVD is out of print, goes for stupid prices. So, but I like having tapes in general because it is like a complete nostalgia thing, I think, for a lot of us. They're cool to have, but most of the tapes I do have, like I said, are films that are either really, really hard to find, or they're just not even released on DVD or Blu-ray and things like that. So it's always nice, but it is nice to just kind of beat around and search for them. And, I do pick up the odd ones just for display pieces. I won't lie. Recently I picked up Tales from the Hood, and I just display it because it's Tales from the Hood. It's awesome, recently I grabbed Ben and Willard, so that was really cool.
Yeah, that was a good find for
that
sure.
was a good find.
Yeah, and again, those movies don't have DVD releases and stuff, and they're really, really good shape. Transfers are great on them. So, but yeah, that's that's the reason why I like to collect. Just to go kind of back and just have that other format and stuff. And I don't discriminate when it comes to films. Like, I mean, honestly, if I could find the odd Laserdisc around, I would too. I'd find them. If I wanted to get something signed, maybe I'd grab a Laserdisc. I know Jeremy used to do that, and it's a really good idea because, if you look at his Laserdisc collection and the signatures and stuff that he has signed, like on his laser, it looks fantastic. Like they're all framed and stuff, but there's just so much room for signatures. It's like a good idea.
Yeah.
If you're going after if you're going after like the whole cast, it's good to have a laser disc because it's got a big cover, and it looks really cool. So I mean, people have different reasons, but that would be one of the reasons why I would do that. So yeah.
Cool. I'm right with you, man. Like, my most exciting, like, looking for VHS is either stuff that is out of print or stuff that doesn't have releases. Like those, because then it feels like, okay, I'm actually adding to my collection of movies, and I'm not just rebuying something I already own on a different format. And one of the more recent examples is I found a copy of Sometimes They Come Back Again, which came out in the year 1996, which I need to see for my 1996 and Moodz' 1996 top 10 show that's planned for the future. So I'm starting to pick up some of these films. And that was one that did have one release in the US, and it was a double release with the original Sometimes They Come Back, and it's never been re-released, and that release has gone long out of print, and it actually wasn't even very widely available to begin with, because I've only seen about 2 people that even have it. So yeah, and the other third film is actually kind of easier to get, but it's that second film that you can only get in that double pack that is really hard to get, so I grabbed that on VHS. But then Kyle recently started buying some VHS, and he'll get into that in a second, but he has been like showing me this group page that apparently was in the Adjust Your Tracking documentary, and I picked up a few things off of there, and it was kind of addicting, so I grabbed a few more things, and next thing you know, my update has like 13 VHS in it or something crazy.
Damn.
I don't think it was that many, but it was probably about 10. And so I grabbed like Phantasm for just a couple bucks, and these aren't like good releases or anything, but I just wanted that on VHS. I grabbed what was it, Mother's Day, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which I was really excited about, and The Wicker Man from my first thing, and then I grabbed The Night Flyer, which actually was a good find because that one is out of print right now. And the cover to The Night Flyer is actually cool because it's like kind of shiny like that Tales from the Hood one. I was actually really excited to get The Night Flyer. I got it for $2 and shipping, which was like $3. So I think I paid like $5.50 for it altogether, an extra 50 cents somewhere in there. That's worth it to me. So I wasn't complaining about that. And then I went to Goodwill the other day because I was like, okay, I'm gonna like poke around and look for some VHS. And I found like 3 Star Wars VHS. I found this weird. This was actually cool because like I doubt this has a DVD release, but it's called Alien Autopsy, and it's like a 60-minute documentary on like Area 51 or something like that from the 90s, and it's like narrated by like one of the guys from Star Trek. I don't know if it's probably a comment or something. I don't know, but I just was like, oh, this is cool. This is like kind of horror based, and I'd never seen this before, so this is something that is worth $1 to me, and I grabbed The Fog on VHS at that Goodwill too. So I was like, they don't really have much horror. Actually, somebody told me that Goodwill throws away a lot of the horror titles that they get, which doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's like actually true from what I hear. Now you can go to some Goodwills and they don't. It depends on the store, but the big rumor is within the VHS community is that Goodwill does throw away most of their horror titles, and that's not just Goodwill. That's most thrift stores for the most part, like Salvation Armies. I think that's a company policy for a lot of those companies.
Well, I do think that the Goodwill like runners or whatever are like really religious, so that would make sense. Somebody told me that one time. I don't know if that's true, but they had like a shit ton of Disney clamshells, like a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, should I like buy these? Like I used to have all these when I was a kid, and then I was just like, nah.
Yeah, I don't go for the Disney shit. Just the Disney shit's so common, you can see it everywhere. It's just like it's not worth picking up. I mean, because it's everywhere. So I don't know.
Yeah, mine has like a whole wall of them.
Yeah.
So.
Crazy. But yeah, I mean, for me, I'm kind of with you guys with that. I mean, I haven't really picked up any. I have a couple that I have on DVD, but I recently, within the last couple of months, kind of just kind of like, I guess I don't really know what it was, but had like started to get like a passion for collecting those because they're kind of fun to, especially when you're going out, thrifting or going out to different stores looking for them. It's fun to look and see what you can find because with DVDs it's fun too, but DVDs. There's tons of DVDs everywhere. I mean, you can
Yeah,
go out.
you're
and
not
find
really gonna
everywhere.
find. You see a lot of the same DVDs. At least
Yeah.
VHS, it seems like it's completely random.
Exactly. So VHS is when you're searching for the room. You're hoping to find something extremely rare, which for the most part it's really rare that you do, but it's still fun to it's kind of a thrill. But yeah, I mean, collecting movies that are out of print on DVD, like I just ordered Tales from the Hood, that's out of print.
Mm-hmm.
That it's cool to have those in your collection, and like Mood said, they're they're nice display pieces. I mean, I just picked up from a guy named Dan on the Facebook group 2 of the re-release Wizard Video big boxes, Zombie and I Spit It on Your Grave. I mean, those things are like gorgeous just to put on your stand. I mean, like your movie collection stand. It's crazy how nice they look when they're sitting up there. So I don't know, man. It's fun.
So, how many have you bought since you started doing this?
Oh, man. I already had some. I had probably roughly around like maybe 10 to 15 before I started just kind of going mostly toward VHS. Now I probably have, I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 I think I've gotten. I just recently...
They take up so much space. That's my only issue.
Well, what I did was I went to Walmart.
Yeah, they do.
And I went to Walmart and I bought a $20 bookshelf, and I just put it right there next to my DVD stuff, my movie stuff, and I've been putting all my VHSs on that, and that thing will hold probably, over 1,000 VHS, tapes. So, not putting them with my DVDs, that's,
See, my issue is I already am out of space all the time for my DVDs, so I don't even have room for VHS. But one solution that I did find was one of my shelves, actually 2 of my shelves, the ones that I didn't build, I actually bought, are really thick, deep rather. So they're like 2 DVD, 2 DVDs deep. So you can have 2 rows, like one row covering up the other row. And I'll just put the VHS behind them because I really don't care to display them that much. I mean, it would be nice, but I have so many DVDs that I can't really display. I don't have the room. So they're behind this stuff. And some of them I have out sitting up. Like I have my Tales from the Hood out, 2 Halloween editions out. For some reason, Jason Lives out. And The Hitcher, a few different ones like that. And basically, I do own a good bit. I probably own about 50 VHS. Or so I would probably say 50, and most of them are common stuff. I have Friday the 13th 1 through 7, and I have all the Elm Streets and Blair Witch and just a bunch of common random stuff that I had from when I was younger.
Titanic.
No, all horror. I think I might have Austin Powers or something, but yeah. So that's kind of how I've been handling the extra ones that I've gotten stuff. But right now I do actually have the recent ones I picked up on a separate shelf. But one thing that I did want to mention was I didn't only buy these to have in my collection. I actually watched them, or some of them, or I plan to watch all of them. But the other night, I think I was on a vacation from work. I was off for 4 days in a row. I think it was right after we recorded the top 10 of 2002 show. Mm-hmm. And I had 3 days off after that, and I think we got done at super late in the morning. It was 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. or something crazy like that. But I went over, and I have a TV next to my bed, which I don't really, sleep in that bed particularly because my dog's always on it and stuff, and hair and stuff like that. But I'll chill in there and watch movies. And basically, I popped in Phantasm. And it was awesome. I watched half the movie before I fell into this tranquil, half nightmare dream logic, half sleepy, my eyes getting heavy thing.
It's a great movie to watch when you're super tired. Perfect on VHS. And I remember feeling I would doze off for a second, and it would be right when the music would kick in or kick out or something. It was really cool. And I finished it up a couple nights later. But I had such a good time watching it on VHS, and I stand by this, that it's it feels like you're watching another version of that film when you watch it on VHS.
people wouldn't understand the nostalgia feeling for it if they weren't really born, late, 80s period or, 90s, early 90s before DVD took over.
Yeah.
It really does, for me personally, feel nostalgic because I remember when I was growing up, I had a TV in my room with a VHS player. That's all we had. And, up until like, the mid to late 90s, even mid to late 90s, I didn't have a DVD player. I mean, my parents didn't go out and upgrade the VHS for a while. So
I didn't get a DVD player till 2003.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's, for me personally, it's a nostalgic feeling. I watched one of the first VHS I actually bought within the, when I first started collecting them again, within the last couple of months was Dawn of the Dead, the double VHS Dawn of the Dead that was released by Anchor Bay. I watched that, popped that in.
Picked that up too.
It was freaking awesome, man. Like, it was well worth watching. I'd much rather watch that movie on a VHS player than a DVD player any day of the week. The DVD player would be cool for the special features, but the actual film itself would be cool. It's better for me just to watch on a VHS player. So
I know it was so cool, man. I popped it in, a little while ago too, and watched it on VHS, and it was just like, oh, this is so fucking cool, man.
Awesome, man.
It just brought me right back, and it was really cool because for years I was watching on DVD, and then I got the Anchor Bay Blu-ray, and then I've got 3 different Blu-rays of Dawn of the Dead, but so I've been kind of watching like on these really crisp transfers and stuff, but popping in the VHS, it looked really good. I was like really surprised, and it just had this like, oh, this is the reason why it's my favorite movie of all time. It's so cool to watch it. Yeah,
the shitty sound, the little picture kind of flickering on it. It just makes, because I remember the first time I ever watched Dawn of the Dead, I had a friend whose cousin was staying with him from New York, and this was in my town. His cousin brought over Day and Dawn of the Dead on VHS, and we watched them. And dude, that just brought me back. I was like, damn, dude, this is like why I'm like into horror. Like, it's freaking awesome. So I don't know. For me, that's kind of why I started to get into it. Like lately here, I've been buying a ton of VHS. Well, not a ton, but I've been buying a lot of them. I'm buying DVDs and Blu-rays also, but I just been focusing on VHS. And it might be like a, I don't know, like a
temporary
habit
thing,
temporary habit for a little while, but it may not. Who knows? So we'll see.
Yeah, It really is super fun to actually watch them, though. Like I said, that Phantasm felt different. And I fell in love with the film all over again, which I don't know how many times that's going to happen, but I let it keep happening because I love it. And then I did watch Texas Chainsaw 2, which also had a very different feel. And I was like really into it again. And the one scene in particular was when Chop Top first enters the radio station, and there's like the light in the background. It just feels so cool, man. Like I'm kind of rediscovering my love for VHS. I'm thinking about starting to pop in some of the Fridays. I have those on VHS. Really, really excited to sort of just watch some of the VHS that I have, like rewatch them. So yeah, I'm down with the VHS lately.
Hell yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's cool to hear you guys are like into it too. I mean, when I first started doing it, like JP was starting to give me shit because he's like, man, you don't need to be doing that. You're gonna be taking up all your space. And then JP like starts messaging me on Facebook. He's like, dude, man, I'm looking at the group, man. This is awesome. I just got
that's like a total like my thing to do, right? Like that's typical of me.
Yeah, give a shit.
Yeah, I remember I had this fucking VHS haul. I don't know. Few months back, and I remember showing JP some of them, and he was like, holy fuck, that's quite the haul.
Yeah, but I actually was excited because most of them were shit that ain't on DVD, like Beaks.
Yeah, well, that's what I picked out. Like, he had saved probably like 30 films, and I think I picked up like 18 of them or something like that. But yeah, I grabbed like all the good ones, and
Crocodile or alligator,
yeah, alligator, and like just Slithus, and like a whole pile of really cool. I mean, that's on Code Red, but a DVD is long out of print. But yeah, that was just, it kind of got the bug back in me. I was like, kind of thinking to myself too. I'm like, fuck, man, I wish I still had all my older tapes from like growing up and stuff. Just like all the moves throughout the years from different city to city and shit. Like things kind of either got wrecked or lost or whatever. So, but it was cool. That was really kind of what got the bug back. You see some nice tapes and you can't help it, man.
Yeah, no,
you really can't help it, man.
Yeah, I was telling my buddy the other day, like I'm trying to get all the Faces of Death on VHS. I have part 1, 3, and 4 now, I believe. So I need like 2 and 5. But yeah, I mean, I this guy was selling them on that horror VHS Collectors Unite group, and didn't really have the money to get them, but he was selling them for such a good price. I was just like, dude, I gotta have them, and so I just went ahead and fucking bought them. It's like one of those things where you're just like, fuck it, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you don't see them. They're VHS. They don't come up often. When you see them with a good price, you just say fuck it, and I gotta have it. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's shit that you're just not going to walk into your local pawn shop and find.
Exactly.
I mean, I know like some of these places, like, you know, that I used to go to, they don't even really have them in there anymore. Like, they kind of got rid of all their VHS. You know, like where I live, it's really sad. And like the ones that they have like a little small section and they're very generic titles. And it's just like, you look at it and you go, God, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's like, the same around where I live. I mean, I went to like all around my local thrift stores, man. They don't have jack shit VHS. They have like Titanic, like 20 copies of fucking Titanic, and
it's always in there.
Speed, and like all these generic titles, and it's just like, come on.
I found this really strange edition on VHS of The Ring the other day, like the American remake. I was actually in a Goodwill or whatever, and it was actually kind of funny. It was like kitty corner to where all the Disney all the clamshells were. And it was like the first one on the shelf, and I looked, I was like, what the fuck? And it was weird. I'd never seen this edition before. It was like in a clear slipcase, and that was the cover. It was like a clear slipcase.
Huh? Odd.
It was yeah, I've never seen that. It was like kind of like that hard material, and
should have picked that shit up.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I'd never seen it before, but I was just like, I wasn't really looking for something like that. But I don't know if it's common. It probably is, but I just never seen it before. But it was different. I'd never seen.
Yeah, that sounds pretty fun.
Like that.
Sweet. Yeah, another thing about VHS too is they're fucking cheap as shit, some of them. So I mean, you can like pick up VHS for like a fourth, if even, the price of like a DVD or Blu-ray. I mean, you see a title you want, if you don't mind not having special features really, and maybe, you know, not the greatest quality obviously video, then you can pick it up and own it for, you know, 50 cents to $1, you know, depending on the title. So it's you know, it's, some of them can be it can be an expensive hobby, you know, getting into VHS, because there are a lot out there that are expensive, but you can find a lot, man, for that aren't that expensive. I mean, they're cheap. So
yeah, surprisingly enough, it is true. Yeah,
but yeah, if you guys want to get into VHS, or like if you guys are listening or interested in it, I'd highly recommend checking out that Horror VHS Collectors Unite group on Facebook. There's about 11 to 12,000 people on that group, and they all sell, you know, VHS, horror VHS. So
yeah, but it'd be pissing me off because I'd be messaging people and they'd be like, sold already, dude. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, you got to get on there and like put your notifications on and stuff. And
I know I messaged a dude a little while ago and it was sold, and I was like, lame. So
anyway, so that's our little talk on VHS, guys. I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, VHS for life. All right, so getting into the morbid fact courtesy of Rue Morgue of Weird Stats and Morbid Facts. This is coming from, well, the exact same one from last week, issue 165, the April edition of 2016, because I'm lazy like that. No, actually, I thought this one was really interesting. And I just wanted to read it out because it's such a strange, odd thing. But we'll get into that in a minute. Okay. A study conducted last year by the BMJ, the British Medical Journal, into the effects of horror films on their viewers concluded that people have increased levels of coagulant factor 8 in their blood, or when watching a scary movie. Now, of course, I'm not just going to leave you hanging with what covalent factor 8 is or whatever. Basically what it is, it's like a blood clotting protein that's in your in your blood. It's like an anti-hemophilic factor, right? It's kind of what it is. So basically what it is, it's like a molecule that kind of attaches itself to like another molecule, and when you hurt yourself, like cut your finger or get hurt, it ultimately breaks off from that other molecule and it goes and fixes your wound. But I'm thinking to myself going, why is this? Why all of a sudden when you have high levels of this when you're watching a horror film?
Because in case you die, man, in case you're getting stabbed or something, it needs to be on point and ready to save your life.
I know, it's like, it's so fucking, so basically, you know, if you want to kill somebody, don't kill them while they're watching a horror film, because they're not going to bleed out as fast. You know, they're gonna blood clot easier, I guess. But I'm thinking to myself going, why are they like studying this stuff?
Yeah, it's kind of a random thing to be studying.
I know, right? I was like, that's so fucking weird. I just thought
Dude,
that
we
was really
paid
interesting.
hundreds of thousands of dollars to have a chick in a fucking water house jerking off a dolphin. So I mean,
Yeah, I know. It's coagulation. Coagulation. That's the word I was trying to get out. Sometimes I can't fucking speak, but yeah, just a really odd, weird stat.
yeah,
I
that
don't
one's
know.
pretty cool.
It's just weird, just strange. So could you imagine how much? I mean, honestly, I must heal like so quick because all I do is watch horror films.
Yeah,
You
well,
probably,
I,
like,
I ju- actually do.
regenerator.
You know when you go to the hospital or they like have to take blood and they poke your finger and get a little tube and try to squeeze out enough blood to get it in the tube.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't do that with me. They can't get it. It just stops bleeding instantly. I'm actually serious. I don't know if that's good or bad or what, but
Interesting. All right, so
Not
that is
human.
that is going to conclude Mood Swings already. So getting into the what we watch portion of the show, everybody knows what it is, where we go round tree, review films, give some ratings, and that's the fun. That is the fun. So who's going to start us off here tonight?
I'll go first. The first film that I watched is out of the good old 4-pack that I was talking about. The Scream Factory 4-pack. I reviewed Contamination Point 7 last week, and I moved on to Cellar Dweller from 1988. Actually has a lot of horror alum in it, and that is directed by John Carl Buechler, who is, of course, the director of Friday the 13th Part 7, most notably, but he also did Troll and another film, The Dungeon Master. Which I didn't really know about.
Dungeon Master. Yeah. Dungeon Master. Cheesy.
Yeah.
Charles
so,
Band production.
Yeah, actually, back when it was Empire, which is this film as well. Written by none other than Mr. Child's Play himself, Mr. Don Mancini. How about that?
What's up, Downey?
Don Mancini wrote this film, and in the same year he wrote Child's Play. Pretty interesting. So Cellar Dweller opens up, much like a lot of Full Moon films and Empire films, it opens up with something set in the past.
My favorite actor of all time.
And who that is?
Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah. So yeah, it opens up with Jeffrey Combs in the 50s, I believe. A comic book artist is sort of drawing this beastly freak thing, and it's very Tales from the Crypty. And you know, there's that episode of Tales from the Crypt where the artist draws shit and it comes to life. That's kind of the deal here. This kind of, I guess it's the Cellar Dweller, but it's kind of just this beast looking thing. It actually looks pretty cool. Like I'm down with it. I like the design. Basically comes alive, and you know, the different things that he draws like plays out in real life, and then it cuts to like present day, which is some years later, I guess, if it's set in the 50s. And we have a young cartoonist who sort of goes to this little artist colony where she kind of revives these creatures and stuff. So, you know, this is very Full Moon / Empire. You know, they all have this sort of feel, and this was really back when they were making them with a little bit more budget and a little bit more technique. You think so, Moodz? Back in the 80s, late 80s?
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, these movies always feel a little bit bigger, but they still have that feel to them. And I love that feel. It really is fun. Like, I enjoyed this movie. It's not an amazing movie at all. But there's some cool stuff, some good gore in it, some good, you know, creature effects and stuff like that I really enjoyed. There's some boobs in it. Overall, just a nice little story that, you know, I've seen a few different times, like a few, like a lot of different times, like throughout history.
Yeah, it's not overly original for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a story that's existed probably since the 50s. But, you know, it's cool to see it told out again. And that's I mean, there's not really much to say about this one. It's fun. 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, Cellar Dweller.
Did you like that one, Moodz?
I do, man. I think I'd probably rate it the exact same as you also. That seems a really fair rating for it. I think it's fun, man. I think it's fun. My only biggest complaint is I wish that, Jeffrey Combs just wasn't the character in the beginning, that he was actually in the
right.
film.
That's like Full Moon though. They'll get like you think of Hickey or whatever from Puppet Master, right?
Yeah.
They get him and then they kill him off in like the first 10 minutes, first like 3 minutes.
I know, right? Yeah. All right, Kyle, what do you got?
We'll talk about a little movie that I watched recently called Man Bites Dog.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I watched that one. I think I watched it a couple weeks ago. Not even a couple weeks ago. Basically about a serial killer. It's a Criterion Collection movie where this group of filmmakers follow around a serial killer on his day-to-day escapades. Basically, this movie is completely in. I think it's French, if I believe right. It's a French movie, and it's completely in black and white, and it's pretty awesome. There's a lot of it's considered, a lot of people consider it a disturbing movie, quote unquote. I didn't really find it very disturbing. I just thought it was really interesting, really cool. The way they followed him around, and they kind of were doing like a documentary on the guy, and he was kind of answering questions, and then they filmed his killings, and there's some people after him, and they filmed like shootouts between him and other people. It was just really interesting to see. And then some of the filmmakers, things happened to them during this whole ordeal, and it's kind of cool to see how they cope with that. I don't know. Overall, I thought it was a really interesting, cool movie. I don't know when that movie actually came out. I want to say it was like the 70s or something. I mean, the whole feel. Well, actually, no. I think that movie actually came out in the early 90s. Yeah, I was gonna say it looked like a 70s type or 80s type movie, early 80s, late 70s. But yeah,
do you get the impression? Do you get the impression that this movie like influenced like the Leslie Vernon film, things like that?
Yeah, it definitely can. I could tell that there's a lot of films out there that this movie probably was in an influence for. It kind of reminded me in a way of Angst a little bit, like I don't know, a little bit of Angst, the way the kind of Angst played out. But yeah, I mean, overall, I thought the movie was awesome. It's not really horror, I guess. It's more like crime type movie, but it still kind of fits in the genre of horror because there's a lot of disturbing kind of weird elements to it.
There's some fucked up shit in that movie, man.
There is a lot of fucked up shit in that movie. So I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was pretty awesome. I definitely would rewatch that movie. So yeah.
Yeah, man. I think it's like super solid, man. Really, really, really interesting, man. I like films like that though, where they kind of follow.
Oh, I love films like that. That's one of those things that like those kind of films like interest me and make me want to watch films like when I see a movie like Man Bites Dog, I want to go watch movies that are like inspired by that and like movies that are like that.
I know, man. It has. I find with films like that, you never really know what's going to happen next. Like it just kind of goes. It could go anywhere. If it's filmed or if it's done right, you got to go anywhere. So it has this kind of, just this element of like, hey, what's going next? I don't know, man. I really enjoyed that film. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome.
What was your rating on it again?
I gave it an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, cool stuff. Alrighty, so what I got here for y'all tonight, first film is brand new release from 2016, and it is, obviously a modern telling of Frankenstein, starring Carrie-Anne Moss, Tony Todd's in this film, Danny Houston. Now, when this one was getting released, I wasn't really, overly too stoked. I mean, I always get excited for Frankenstein, any type of telling of Frankenstein, because Frankenstein is like one of my favorite movies, and every adaptation that comes out, I always want to check out and stuff. And then I seen who directed this film, and it was Bernard Rose, who directed Candyman, did this film. And I was like, oh, okay, now that's really fucking cool. So you probably got some pretty decent, production value to it and stuff. And yeah, this is basically what this is. It's just a modern telling of the Frankenstein story, but told completely through the monster. But in this film, he actually does have a name. His name is actually Adam. So the film starts out and it's, it's got these scientists, they're in this lab, and they've literally grown the monster or Adam, like in this like machine. It's like this electrical type machine, and they literally just like made a human. It's like really wild. Yeah, it's really crazy. It's not just like, they shot a bolt of lightning into these body parts and like, we've got life, kind of thing, right? It's not really like that. They actually literally like scientifically grow a human. It's really crazy. But anyways, he kind of turns out to be a bit of a reject because his body starts kind of rejecting, how he was made. He starts kind of like deforming, and he becomes really violent and stuff. So ultimately they decide to kind of put him down, for lack of a better term. They think that they kill him. Anyways, he's down in the morgue. He ends up escaping. He comes back to life as they're ready to do like an autopsy, not an autopsy, but kind of, actually one of the guys in the morgue was going to steal his eyeballs because they were like really cool. It's like this really weird scene. But anyways, he comes back to life and he escapes, and now he's out in the real world, and it's set in like Los Angeles, and it follows him, and he narrates this thing. He talks normal, like as a narrator. But in the film, he's really learning the ways, because he's like a figment human. He doesn't really know much. He knows certain things, and now he's out in the real world and he's trying to survive. And later on in the film, he comes across like Tony Todd, who plays this character. He plays a bum, and he's blind. Really, really kind of interesting contrast in the characters, because Tony Todd being blind, he can't see the disfigured and hideous character of the monster, or Adam in this case. So they become friends and things like that. But my thoughts on this film. This is a really, really good telling of Frankenstein. It's fantastic. This is by far the best film I've seen from 2016 so far. This is right up there with The Boy. This is really, really well made. It's a really elegant, very emotional, very heartwarming, touching story. And it's really cool. It's got like homages to, the original Frankenstein. There's a scene with a little girl, but it doesn't go exactly like the original Frankenstein film. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but it doesn't go exactly like that. But it's just got all these really heartfelt moments. Like you can tell that he's struggling with his identity and who he is and stuff. And all he wants to do is kind of find his mom, which he calls the female scientist played by Carrie-Anne Moss. He calls his mom, and he wants to basically find her, and he doesn't understand why they abandoned him and stuff like that. So he's really just trying to find his way, and he comes across like this dog, and and just it's just this whole kind of, you just follow this character and you just really feel for him, because you can't really relate to him because you haven't really been there and things like that. But it's one of those type of stories where everything that's happening, you're just like, man, people are shit. Because ultimately you see the worst in humans throughout the film, because he's misunderstood. He's this hideous figure. People don't understand exactly who he is, and they really showcase it well. Bernard Rose really showcases it really quite well. I think there's a few scenes in the film that could have been done just a tad bit better. But you really do show how society does reflect on people that they don't understand and things that they just don't get. People always go, fuck that, I hate that shit, when you don't understand it. And they really showcase this super well in this film, especially with the scene where Tony Todd tries to get him laid for the first time, and this whole ordeal just spirals out of control and stuff. But it's a really emotional, well done film. I recommend everyone check this out, especially if you're a fan of Frankenstein or any of the adaptations. This one right here just floors the 94 Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with Robert De Niro. So I'm not even a really big fan of that storytelling. This one is really good. I thought it was really great. Besides the very last scene in the film, I think is pretty shitty, and it does bring down my rating a tad bit. But overall, this one is really good. I think it's a really excellent and well executed film. So I'm going to give this one about an 8.5 out of 10. Definitely give it a shot. It's good. It's a really, really good film.
That's actually the second review that I've heard of this film. Horror Movie Podcast actually did a review on the original Frankenstein and this one. And one of the hosts sounded exactly like you in terms of like excitement level. They also gave it an 8.5, and I believe.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I believe the other two hosts were a little lower on it and gave it around a 7.
Okay, I mean, I can see that. I mean, I think the third act needs that's pretty much why my rating is a little bit lower. I think the whole film is really well executed until I think about the last 20 minutes of the film. I think things go a little too haywire, and it goes in a direction where I'm like, okay, I'm kind of questioning a little bit. And there is a really bad last scene in the film. But overall, man, damn, dude, this thing had me hooked right from the beginning. I was very enthralled, and I felt his pain You know, he was literally in pain walking through the streets, and he's being narrated over his real voice and stuff. And it's so heart-wrenching, man. It's just terrible. And it just showcases how shit humans really fucking are in this world, man. That was good. Really good.
Awesome. All right, back to me. This is the last regular film that I have. I do have a segment after this, but it's not really horror because I didn't really watch much this week, but I figured I could talk about it since it's sort of like along the lines of exploitation. And that is The Trip from 1967. I got it from Olive Films. It is interesting for a few reasons, really. And one of the reasons is that it was directed by Roger Corman, but it was written by the one and only Jack Nicholson. Which is
Really?
super interesting, am I right?
Yeah, that is interesting.
So The Trip follows a guy who is sort of having hard times with his professional life and personal life. So he seeks out the magical, wonderful drug of acid, LSD.
You.
And he goes on a trip. And that's essentially the film. The film is kind of following this character as he slips in and out of reality and sort of seeing the trip unfold via visual exploration in a film. And that's literally the point of this film. I mean, I watched Jeremy's review, and he seems to think that there might be like a lot of social commentary there. I just think that this is a film that's trying to show you an accurate representation of a psychedelic trip. And that's, I think, the main purpose of the film. So one of the things that I will say right away is some scenes work amazingly. Like, I'm just sitting there, it's like this hypnotic trance of colors and music and bodies rubbing, and it's just like, okay, like this feels like... you know, I mentioned in my review that I did on YouTube that I don't really have much experience with hallucinogenics, but in my head, I feel like that's kind of what it would be like from the people that I've talked to and some of the stories that I've heard and you know, whatever mild experiences I have. So, you know, I do think that it is represented fairly accurate based on my own personal history. I think that it's, you know, kind of accurate based on that, but I would really be curious to somebody who has a little bit more experience with that to tell me if it is or isn't or whatever. But Jack Nicholson actually wrote the film based on his own experiences with LSD.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
Roger Corman actually took LSD in preparation for this film, so he knew what the hell he was making a movie about. That's dedication. So yeah, I mean,
method producer, method director.
Yeah, so there are some scenes that are a little more like low key. There's actually, you know, everything from like the lovey, like almost ecstasy type of scenes down to like, oh shit, I'm having a bad trip type scenes. And you know, for 67, it's really cool. It definitely has that 60s vibe, straight up. This is like very of the time, that sort of hippie movement and stuff. Overall, like a very satisfying experimental watch. You know, it's definitely seems like a very experimental film. I don't really think there's much depth there in terms of like real social commentary or like really saying something. Maybe Jeremy saw something that I didn't. It's very possible. I thought it was fun and interesting at the very least, and I give it a 7 out of 10.
Nice.
Chill.
It's cool stuff.
Yeah. Kyle.
Yeah.
You got one?
So my next movie that I'm going to talk about is another movie. This is actually a movie that you kind of got me kind of to watch, Moodz. When you didn't get me to watch it, I watched your review of it on I think it was Body Bags, and it is the it's from 2015 horror film Excess Flesh. I don't know if you guys have talked about that movie on the podcast or not, but
no, that was on my chat. That was on my channel. Did you like the intro?
Yeah, the intro was great. Your intros are like getting like more hilarious every time I watch a video of yours.
I thought it was kind of funny. Well, Steve, the reason why I did that is because Steve had actually put that pack of gummy bears in the package when he sent me the film.
Oh, really?
So I was like, and I was at first I was like, why is there gummy bears in here? And then I watched the film and I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So
Yeah,
I decided to use it. I was like, what am I gonna do for an intro? I'm like, oh, I'll do this. I'll just slow it down.
it was funny. It was very funny. Pretty much this movie is about two roommates. One's named Jennifer, one's named Jill. Jennifer is like a really kind of skinny. To be honest with you, Jennifer's a bitch, and she's very, very skinny, and she's a bitch to her roommate Jill. And Jill has like a problem. She like binges, and I don't know what I guess it's like an eating disorder. She has like an eating disorder basically, where whenever she does eat, she like purges, like she eats a ton of food. So she tries to maintain
Bulimia.
Yeah, bulimia, or yeah, whatever they call it. So she tries to like, get thin. She wants to be just like Jennifer, but she can't be. And then Jennifer actually makes fun of her all the time for her weight issues, and she doesn't have a job, and pretty much just mocks her all the time. Well, at some point in the movie, she actually takes Jennifer hostage, and I guess you can say tortures her, and a lot of things ensue. I can't really get too much into the plot of this movie because it would kind of ruin the movie, and the movie is a very, very odd movie. I went into it thinking one thing, or thinking a certain way it would be, and then it was kind of just very odd. Like the movie itself was just very odd. It got very awkward at some points. It was very disgusting. There's a lot of disgusting, eating, like close-ups of people eating food and like spitting out food, and people like shoving food down other people's throats, and people throwing it up. And...
I hate movies like that. I've seen a few like that.
That's one thing I did say, like, the way it was filmed, there's so many close-ups, and just like it really gets in your face, and it's like odd and awkward and just utterly disgusting to watch. Like you just feel filthy when you're watching that film, right?
Yeah, it was just like really gross. I watched it with my girlfriend, and I did. She likes movies like that. She actually has been begging me to watch Orzaka the Embalmer, and I don't want to watch that movie again. But she likes movies like that. She likes just disgusting, like disturbing movies. So we watched it together. I actually bought it off of Xbox Marketplace before it came out. And we watched it, and we were just sitting there like, ugh, like what the fuck? I cannot stand watching people chew food. That's like my big pet peeve. I was like, when I see you chewing food with your mouth open, I'm fucking done with you. Like you could fuck off. Like it's disgusting to me. Like, and this whole movie is that. Like it shows people chewing food with their mouth wide open. It's just
because she just gets really into it. Like the bitch is all tied up, and then she's just like, she's got this whole cake and she's stuffing it in her face, like in her own face. And I'm like,
there's like a scene where it's
almost degrading for her character, like, as a person to like do that film, like even herself. I'm like, man, it must have took a lot. Like, could you imagine doing takes of that shit though?
Yeah, it's like there's a scene, like there's a specific scene where she's sitting in her chair, like in like this recliner, and she's very depressed, and she makes like 20 bowls of like quick mac, like easy macaroni and cheese, and she's like eating it and spitting it into this fucking trash can, and the whole time I was just sitting there like, ugh, like
I know,
how do people and that's a real disorder too, and so I'm like, how do people do this shit? Like that's fucking disgusting.
Satisfy the craving until it has to come back out, I guess.
I guess so, man. I don't know how people do it. I gave the movie a 6.5 out of 10. I really, honestly, didn't really care for the movie too much. I thought it was a cool, kind of twist. It kind of has like a twist at the end, and the storyline isn't a bad movie, but it was not as. It was just disgusting. It wasn't really as disturbing as I thought it would be. It was just very nasty, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's one thing I did say. I said right off the hop, I said, man, this is not going to be for everybody. Like you have to, and the funny thing was when I watched that movie, I actually wasn't feeling good. So by the end of it, and I was go to do my review, I was like, oh my God, I had to like sit down for a while. I felt really nauseated. I was like,
it made me not want to eat food like for like a couple of hours. I was just like, I can't eat anything right now. This is nasty.
As you can tell, most of the gummy bears actually missed my mouth. I really didn't want to eat them.
I don't blame you, man. It was, ugh. And then the gummy bear scene, yeah, that gummy bear scene was gross. You like the scene that we're kind of talking about is this: the girl ties up, the chubby girl that's being made fun of ties up the other roommate and just basically forces her to get on her hands and knees and eat gummy bears, and she doesn't have any use of her hands, so she has to sit there and stuff her face full of gummy bears, in this bowl. It's just, I don't know. This movie is like, if you're into like gross out food movies, you would fucking love this movie. Let's just put it that way.
There's a segment in a film called The Theater Bazaar from 2012 called Sweets, I believe, and it's a lot of gross food eating in that as well.
Ugh. Anyway, yeah, Excess Flesh. If you guys are into that, if that sounds interesting to you, I mean, it's not a bad movie by any means. It does have an interesting storyline. I did enjoy the movie for the most part for the storyline aspect of it, but the visual aspect of it is kind of what, it's just kind of gross. But yeah, it's not like anything, out there where you're going to be like, oh wow, this is going to give me a double. I'm going to do a double watch of this movie one day. It's one of those movies you watch once and you'll be like, okay, and then you'll never probably watch again. So
yeah, it would make. I actually said in my review, I was like, I don't know what the hell's with Midnight releasing the sickest fucking movies, but they released one last year called Crazy Murder, and there's just a lot of scenes with like shit in it and like a ton of shit scenes. Ugh. And I said that in there. I'd be like a great double. I think I said make a great double feature with Crazy Murder. Well, Steve got back to me and he laughed so hard. I guess the owner was watching my review and he started laughing so hard at that. He's like, "Yep."
That's hilarious.
It is kind of funny. Basically, it is a good one, man. You put Excess Flesh on, the food goes in. You watch Crazy Murder. It's coming out. Fucking gross, man.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
It's terrible. Yeah. Alrighty, so next up here, I actually just got this Blu-ray in today, and I actually watched one of the films, or no, I got it in yesterday. I'm lying. And brand new Scream Factory release, double feature with Murders in the Rue Morgue and the Dunwich Horror. And now I haven't seen the Dunwich Horror in years, and I wanted to revisit it so bad. Of course, based on the H.P. Lovecraft story, starring what's his name? Dean Stockwell is in this film. I always remember Dean Stockwell from Quantum Leap. Remember that show from the 80s?
Oh, yeah.
With Scott Bakula.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, anyways, Dean Stockwell is quite young in this, from 1970, of course. And Sandra Dee is actually in this film, too, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this is kind of like one of those folklore type, not really gothic film, but like very kind of one of those folk type films, horror films, if that makes any sense. But it's basically about your character, Wilbur Watley. He shows up at this school where he wants to basically he heard that the professor there, he's a doctor, and he's like a professor of the occult and stuff. He has a copy of the Necronomicon, and he shows up at the school and he wants to borrow the Necronomicon because he says that he wants to study more into the occult and things like that. But he does have, there is motives here. Anyways, he meets a young girl by, Sandra Dee's character. Her name's Nancy. And, she's exactly what he's looking for. Anyways, he conjures up a plan to have her drive him back to Dunwich, where he's from. And, he kind of sabotages her car so she can't leave and things like that. And so she doesn't show back up at the school the next day and stuff. So her friend and the doctor, they go looking for her. And, ultimately the doctor starts asking questions about this Wilbur character because he seems a little bit off his rocker. He's kind of a weird guy and stuff. And he finds out that his family has quite the history in Dunwich. And, his great grandfather, he was actually, hung and stuff for his weird beliefs back in the day and stuff. So now the doctor and her friend are trying to, basically save Sandra from what they think is what he's trying to do with this Necronomicon and things like that. So, yeah, that's the story of the film. Now my thoughts on this one. It's a really interesting film. I love these folk type, these devil worshipping Necronomicon type stories, like, because you never, first, it's a slow burn. Let's just put it this way. A lot of the films from this time period they're structured very similar. It's just a lot of slow build up and stuff. Even the third act in this film is, I would say, a little slower than you would probably hope it was going to be, but it's still very interesting. I love the house that the set in. The acting's great. Dean Stockwell does a great job as Wilbur, as the I don't really want to give too much away, as basically the bad guy in the film. But yeah, he does a great job. Sandra Dee does a great job in this one. Atmosphere is fantastic. Third act just has great cinematography. It has so many good scenes in this. It's just fantastic. But again, this is the type of films that's not really for everybody, because the storyline it's interesting. But you have to be into these, these whole folklore, this Necronomicon type satanic stories, and kind of know, like, maybe like a tad bit about exactly what he's trying to accomplish. But I really do like the things that they're pulling out of the Necronomicon, like what he needs from this and all the ideas that come along with what he's trying to accomplish. I think is really cool. And there is kind of like, not really twists and I guess there is kind of twists and turns towards the end that are really interesting and kind of cool too. But, fantastic story and really good film. I think it's just definitely a good release by Scream Factory. Murders in the Rue Morgue, haven't seen in years. But yeah, check out this double feature. Fantastic stuff. Dunwich Horror, I'm going to give a 7 out of 10. Fantastic. Not really a whole lot to say, but it's kind of one of those films that you need to kind of see for yourself. Don't want to ruin anything, but check it out for Dean Stockwell. Does a great job. So
sweet.
Cool. So back to me. It is segment time. This is my segment Horror 101, where I review a horror documentary, something along those lines, based on horror movies or sometimes just something horrific. And this time it is based on horror movies-ish, kind of. It is Stephen King's World of Horror from 1986. It also was released under Stephen King's This Is Horror, which the whole way I found out about this was that VHS group page we referenced earlier in the show, and I seen somebody was selling Stephen King's This Is Horror Volume 1. I have very little information on what this thing actually is, because it seems like in the UK there's like a couple volumes, and then like here, I don't know. I think that it was like a long TV mini, like, I don't know, like a TV like movie type documentary thing that aired on TV. It was like 3 hours long or something, but then it was like chopped up into like VHS segments. It's very bizarre. There's like no information on it out there really. I seen it on YouTube in 4 parts, so I don't know if it was just because it was YouTube or like there's actually 4 volumes. I know there's at least 2 volumes. Anyway, all this is mostly footage of films that exist, like Argento's Creepers, which I guess is what, Phenomena.
yeah.
And the one thing that it was kind of interesting was at the beginning of the first part they showed footage from Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, but it was like as it was being made or something like that. So it was pretty cool because, they were showing it as like an exclusive sneak peek at the next Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. And a bunch of other random ass movies, like Society was one. They did Reanimator, which I guess isn't too random because they're connected, via director. And, there's all these different, just random ass movies. Like some I knew, like some I didn't know. And they're just showing clips from them. And then you'll hear somebody talk for like fucking 30 seconds. And then they just show like a 2-minute segment of a movie. And I'm like, what is the point of this? So you're just seeing a hodgepodge of different movies. And you're like, okay. But then you start thinking, oh, like, let me put myself back in the day. And I started thinking, like, okay, like, there's a high probability that your video store might not have something like Phenomena. You might never see it, ever. You know what I mean?
Well, that's just a stupid movie store.
Well, I never
not to have that.
anything like that. I never had a single, like, Argento film in my video store. I never rented an Argento film, ever.
Really?
In the main video store I went to, no. Because I'd never seen any of those movies and never even heard of them until, like, the internet age. But it's actually not that uncommon. It's not that uncommon to not really have a lot of those Italian films because they weren't released like very widely. Yeah. So, some of these mom and pop shops and some of the bigger ones wouldn't really carry stuff like that. So, you rent something like this back in the day and all of a sudden you're exposed to all these films that you might never hear of. Now that the internet's so easy to just go find these movies, you see Creepers in the this is horror, whatever you want to call it, and then you're like, wow, I can't wait to track down that movie. Then you're calling all the video stores in your town, see if they have it and stuff. So it makes sense in that term, if you really kind of put yourself in it that way, which is kind of what I did. But at the end of the day, I mean, like, every once in a while they'll start talking about something and you'll be like, oh, that's cool, like, oh, that's neat. Like, they start talking about special effects and stuff. They had like the K&B guys. And I was like, oh, neat. They're talking like stuff that I care about, and then it goes away. But then they had like Charles Band. He started talking about like trancers and different things like that. They had like footage from like the Elm Street 4, where they're in the big giant, like the all the bodies are like coming out of Freddy and stuff. And they start talking a little bit about that. They have, it's such a weird. Let me just give you some of the movies mentioned: From Beyond, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Vamp, The Tomb, Class of Nukem High, Dario Argento's World of Horror, Elm Street 2, Demons, Reanimator, Phenomena, Trancers, Toxic Avenger, Tenebrae, American Wolf in London, Halloween, Suspiria, Eaten Alive. Like, they just picked, like, Willard. They just picked, like, random-ass movies.
Willard. Nice.
But they do actually show a lot of, like, the, 70s, 80s, like, Italian stuff, which was pretty cool. And Argento having like long hair, like, because they take you on the set of Creepers or Phenomena, and it's actually pretty cool, like seeing the Argento all young and shit, like directing. That was actually neat. So there was some cool, neat stuff, but it's mostly just footage of movies you've already seen. So 5 out of 10 on that.
Huh.
Barely a 5 out of 10. It should be lower.
Interesting. Yeah, I've heard of it before. I've never seen it though. I guess it doesn't really sound like it's going to be too high on my list.
Might be worth picking up on VHS, like Volume 1, if you can find it or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, and there's like how many you said? Like maybe 4?
There might be 4. I'm not
I
sure.
didn't realize there's that many of those. Yeah. Interesting. Kyle, you got another one?
Yeah, I got another one. I'm sure you guys have already talked about this movie on the podcast before. I'm almost positive you probably have, but I've watched it recently, within the last month or two, and I fucking love this movie. I actually pretty sure you guys told me you liked it a lot too. That movie is Gunwoman. Dude, that fucking movie. This movie, I'll kind of get into the plot a little bit.
Apparently, you didn't listen to the year-end show.
Yeah, I probably did. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure you guys have probably talked about this movie like several times. So, all right. So to get in the plot a little bit on this movie, there's this doctor who, his wife gets killed by a rich, family or rich kid. He buys this woman who's a meth addict, trains her to be an assassin to kill this person that killed his wife. That's pretty much the plot in general. The movie itself is freaking awesome. I kept putting this movie off. I had it in my collection. I purchased it, and I just kept putting it off to watch it because I just never got around to it. Finally got around to it. I did a mini Asian kind of movie marathon on my page with my buddy. We watched 3 Asian movies back to back. I filmed it. You can actually go to my channel and watch it. I filmed, our reactions to it, our, kind of us, talking about the movie. We rated it. But dude, I love this movie. It was definitely an amazing. It's one of the best revenge movies I've seen in a long time. I mean, it was freaking crazy. Something else that was kind of crazy about it is that it was like in English and in Korean or whatever that language was, Japanese, whatever they were speaking. It was in like 2 different languages, which was kind of weird. When it's like kind of the vibe it puts off is that it's an Asian film, but it's got some English speaking people in it. But overall, man, I don't know, man. I freaking really like this movie a lot. It kept me interested the whole time. It was freaking gory. It was extremely over the top. I mean, this dude planted these gun parts in this woman. It's really hard to explain kind of the way this movie plays out, but I highly recommend it. I actually gave this movie a 9 out of 10.
Psh, get on my level, dog. 9.5 out of 10.
Chief. Whatever. I got 10 out of 10 on that one.
It's worth watching, man. It's freaking awesome. I actually watched it with my buddy, and my buddy had never heard of it before, and he's like huge on Asian cinema too. And he probably didn't hear of it because, like I said, it kind of puts off to be an Asian film, which it is, but it's also an American film sort of. I don't know really what they were looking for there, but anyway, yeah, it's It's awesome.
Yeah, Kyle, that made my number 4. Actually, did only give it a 9 out of 10. Surprised on that. It made my number 4 of 2015. Made Moodz' number 3 of 2015. And actually, you must not listen to future shows because the director actually wrote us a little note and a letter in our email and said, "Thank you for reviewing his film," and shit like that. So fuck off, Kyle.
Yeah, man. So we have talked about this shit, and even the director even commented on that shit. So
Well, fuck 22 shots of Moodz and horror. Fuck that.
yeah,
shit.
we hear that a lot, man. We hear that a lot. Sounds like my wife.
All right, Moodz, wrap it up with the last segment.
All right, so I actually have a segment this week, going back to my old Italian Stallion segment, because I watched a film from 1964 released by Dark Sky Films. This one's been on my radar forever to grab. I finally grabbed it, and it's called Slaughter of the Vampires. I believe it's also known as something else too, like some weird title. Curse of the Blood Ghouls. I love the word ghouls. So good. Basically what this one is about, it's about a newly wedded couple who just they moved into this just newly renovated kind of castle, of course, because that's what you do when you get married, just move into like this awesome castle, right?
Oh yeah, sure.
So anyways, one night they're having a party, and what they don't know that's downstairs is there's like basically a count, like a Dracula, like a vampire that lives downstairs in their wine cellar. Anyways, one night their butler goes down there to grab some wine for the party, and he basically escapes out into the party, and he kind of starts to seduce the wife, and he ultimately he bites her and starts to turn her into a vampire. And the husband is kind of like, she gets really sick and stuff, and he's kind of wondering what the fuck's going on, things like that. And he starts to kind of figure that, something is like seriously wrong with her. So he calls up this doctor, of course, who oddly enough, of course, specializes in, vampire killings. He's like, your fucking Van Helsing. He's like a regular people doctor, but he's like Van Helsing too. I love that premise. It's just so convenient for the storytelling, right? But anyways, she ends up turning into a vampire, and now these guys have got to kind of figure out exactly how to kill this vampire and, save the day. Maybe ultimately kind of turn her back, because the doctor mentions something about, giving blood transfusions and things like that. But we ultimately know from watching vampire films that that's not really going to happen. So, but yeah, that's the plot of the film. 1964, pretty fun film, actually. It's not too bad. There's a lot of really strange scenes in this film, I have to say. I've never really seen a vampire film like this before. The vampire himself is like not what you would picture when you first kind of grab this. He looks like, I don't even know how to say it. It's almost like a 50s greaser in a way with blonde hair. It's really fucking strange. I've never seen anything like it before, but his acting is just outrageously hilarious too. It's just so good. He pulls it off so well. He just has this like determined look. He's like really trying to get into the party. He's really trying to scare you, and you're kind of believing it, and you're kind of getting into it and stuff. And I thought the guy that played the vampire, the lead vampire, is just fantastic in this. But it's this really weird scene. Right after, she gets bitten on the neck, she ultimately wakes up one night. She's sleeping next to her husband, and she kind of walks outside into the garden where she meets the Dracula, or the vampire. And he kind of convinces her that, like, he just tells her some bullshit, like kind of sob love story and stuff like that, hands her some flowers. It's something I've never seen in a film before. It's just so strange to watch. I was like so into it. I'm like, this is so awesome. It's kind of cheesy at the same time, but it's kind of well, decently done. It's a very early Italian film, right? So it, it doesn't quite have a lot of those, kind of structured Italian, visuals and things. It just feels a lot different. But it, overall, it's a pretty fun film. I mean, there's not really a lot of things to say about it. I just think that the whole Van Helsing character in this just is absolutely hilarious. It's got decent atmosphere. I think there's some pretty cool nighttime shots. Cinematography is pretty well done. The acting is hard to tell because it's really poorly dubbed in English. This version that Dark Sky put out is dubbed in English, and that's the way you have to watch it. There is no Italian language with English subtitles, nothing like that. So you have to watch it like that. So when you're watching it is a little goofy at times, but still not a bad film. I have to say, I really enjoyed it. I thought the castle, the setting that they used was just fantastic. I thought it looked great, especially down in the basement with the coffin and things like that. I think it looked great, but not really a whole lot to say about it. I thought it was pretty decent. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit, but not the greatest movie in the world. Worth a look. 6.5 out of 10. So
Dope. And now,
on to the featured review of the week. And this week we are going to be talking about
the week.
I always say of the week. I don't know. Well, the reason why I do that is because why do I do that?
I don't know.
Because we are a weekly show.
Yeah, ish. Weekly-ish.
Weekly-ish. I mean, that's the whole point. We're supposed to be kind of doing weekly.
Now the featured review of the weekly-ish.
Weekly-ish, yeah.
Weekish.
Is from a very well-known underground director from 2006. This is like his first like structured horror film, and of course it's called the Redsin Tower, directed by Fred Vogel. Of course, if you're not familiar with Fred Vogel, he's most famous for directing the August Underground films, and yeah,
from the year 2006, by the way.
I did say 2006.
Did you?
Yes, I did. I did say 2006, didn't I, Kyle?
Yep, he said 2006.
Thank you.
I must have missed it when I was interrupting him.
Probably.
Yeah. Don't do that.
I absolutely love the synopsis on IMDb here. It's awesome. A teen's girl psychotic ex-boyfriend follows her friends to the Redsin Tower, where a night of partying quickly becomes a fight for their very lives.
Yep, that's a teen girls.
I just love it. A teen girls. I don't know, man. It just sounds funny to me. Yeah, I mean, essentially that's pretty much what it is. The funny thing about this film is, like, when you first start watching the movie, you think it's gonna go kind of one way, like with the boyfriend. I mean, the psychotic boyfriend is just one thing, I don't know, man. When I first saw this film, I just thought it was going to go a completely different way, but it didn't go that way. So don't want to get into spoiler territory, but what are your guys' thoughts on the film?
You could actually even say, like, just take a few words out here and say a group of teens party at an abandoned tower one night when an evil force awakens. Demonic spirits keep them from leaving and turn their party into a living hell. Do you know what that is? That's the synopsis to Night of the Demons, taking out the word Halloween.
Oh, yeah, completely.
Wow.
Completely. But even the synopsis is wrong, though. It's like a teen's girl's ex-boyfriend follows her friends to the Redsin Tower. Now, that's kind of bullshit because he didn't know where they were going. So even the synopsis is wrong. He had no idea where they were.
I was actually going to bring that up. That's a plot hole, correct?
That is a plot hole. They never, because they do beat his ass down in the film, and no one ever mentions to him in any of those scenes where they're all together that they are going to the Redsin Tower. How he finds them, I don't know.
I thought that he went at some point to like somebody's place. It's been like a week since I've watched this movie, but I thought that he went to somebody's. He talked to somebody that said that they thought that they were going to the Redsin Tower.
No, he doesn't talk.
No, he talks to his boy and gets a gun off of him, but that's before they decide to go to the Redsin Tower. That's the only to a party.
Yeah, the only time he ever has any like contact with his girlfriend is the scene in the Quickie Mart parking lot there, where he shoves around his girlfriend and gets his ass beat down,
beat out of him,
and no one says anything like, "Hey guys, let's go to the Redsin Tower." And then he's like,
"Yeah, like let's leave this scumbag here. Let's go on the Redsin Tower now."
That's interesting. We get that off right away. Yeah, that is a plot hole. That is a plot hole.
I noticed that right away, and I was like, well, maybe I missed something. But no, I guess I didn't.
No, it's definitely not a fill in there. I mean, it could. No, I don't know.
Well,
we'll get into that in a minute. But
I was gonna say, is it like a meaning behind that?
Nope.
No,
it's a plot.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm not gonna chalk it up to the complete second half rewrite that they had to do for this film. Just based on one of the actors that got sick. The big dummy with the lisp.
Yeah.
Well, he got sick halfway through the film, hence him being, kind of spoiler, but he ends up getting killed off first in the film there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because he ended up getting sick, like in real life. He got like Crohn's disease. He had like this crazy stomach problems and shit like that. But oddly enough, he was supposed to be a character that goes a little bit further into the film. So they had to do it like a complete rewrite.
That's crazy.
I wouldn't say that's a complete rewrite.
Well, they talk about it in the documentary and stuff, and it's crazy because they had him. It was a lot different. It was a lot different because Philly. I don't want to get into spoiler territory, but you know what I'm saying. But anyways, he was supposed to go a lot further.
Okay, so he was very much more significant.
Yeah.
Originally, okay.
Yeah.
One of the things that I mentioned off the top was that this is Night of the Demons. I mean, it really is like even the whole like beginning where you're following this character and then you're in the car with these characters, like that's like right out of Night of the Demons. Like it feels like Night of the Demons. The fat guy feels like Stooge a little bit. It's kind of interesting. Yep. Definitely very inspired by Night of the Demons.
It was funny when I first heard of this movie, which was a couple years after it came out. I kept reading, things about the movie, and it kept getting compared to it being an Evil Dead ripoff, and
yeah,
I
wouldn't say that.
I don't really see that.
I mean, there's like a little bit of Evil Dead-y stuff towards the end of the film, like just like camera angles and like different stuff like that, but that's kind of a stretch.
It is. I mean, I think it's more just the fact of the possession aspect of it and certain camera shots or certain cinematography that Fred Vogel did and stuff. Yeah, but I mean, as a complete ripoff of Evil Dead, no. And I kept seeing Evil Dead, and Night of the Demons did get brought up, but it wasn't as prevalent.
It's not even a complete ripoff of Night of the Demons. It's just like very similar in its setup, but the sort of final act and end stuff is pretty different. I mean, there's still like the possession and stuff, but it's like different in what happens and shit. So, but the setup is definitely very like Night of the Demons.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it doesn't really bother me too much because I love that movie. I know I like it more than you, and even if it was an Evil Dead ripoff, fine. I love the Evil Dead, so it doesn't really affect me.
I like that too. Like I like the way Night of the Demons starts out, and I actually like the way that this film started out, because it felt, minus some of the like spotty acting, it really did feel like, oh, these are the type of people that I used to hang out with in high school, like in maybe like 2008 or 2009 or whatever.
Are you talking spotty acting by main characters or the parts where Fred and Shelby were in the film?
Everybody has spotty acting moments almost. There's some actually are like pretty good, but like the boyfriend.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
100%
boyfriend
overacting.
The boyfriend was really, but I think that was meant to be like that because of how he was supposed to be a psycho. Like, I think that
the thing about psychos,
they actually talked about that in the documentary too.
They don't really. The performance was an over the top psychotic performance, is what it was.
What did they say in the documentary, Moodz? I never watched it.
Me neither.
Well, just about him and like how he is as a real person and compare to the character that he's playing and stuff, like completely polar opposite. But yeah, they wanted him to be extreme, like that was actually part of it. So that was more of the direction, anyways. But they wanted him to be like crazy, like just ridiculously over the top, and that's pretty much how it turned out. So that was the direction that Fred wanted. So
I don't think it was the right choice, and I don't think that it really came off effective in that way.
Well, I mean, most people don't react like that when they get dumped. I mean, but there is the odd person that does. I don't know.
No, it's not that. I've seen people go psycho over being broken up with. It's just, it's unrealistically psycho. It's over the top. It's out of the realm of what the film is set in terms of like how the other characters are and stuff. It feels very unnatural. It feels very phoned in. It's just not good acting is what it is. But that was really that was really the worst of all the performances. Most of the other people just had little tiny moments, but there was some good acting in there too. Not super good, but for low budget, very very acceptable.
Well, the thing is, though, man, like, again, I don't want to keep going back to the documentary for references and stuff, but most of the people hadn't really done a lot. They did screen. I mean, these weren't friends. Like, these were actually, like, hired people for the parts and stuff like that. So, ultimately, I think they did a pretty good job, just for having little to no experience acting and stuff. And kind of tough scenes, like, getting right into the opening scene in the film where, the main girl is fucking. And that scene right there, it was the very first time they'd ever met, those two people in real life.
So was she fucking, or was she being fucked? Because it kind of looked like the other one.
Whatever.
I'm just joking.
What, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, it's kind of funny when you watch the doc. It's like they had just met on the set that day. It's like, get your clothes off and
that would be
very kind of awkward.
Very awkward. But it comes off that way in the film, so maybe that's good.
Yep.
I mean, it's supposed to.
And she wasn't really supposed to be enjoying that. So yeah, no, it worked out.
What's the doc called?
And the odd thing is that was actually planned. They even talk about how that was actually planned. So
that's
pretty interesting. Yeah.
What's the doc called?
The documentary, which is on the second disc of the 5-disc set.
Yeah. Does it have a name?
I'd have to grab it here in a second.
Because I was just curious, because I might have forgot to watch that. I didn't know he's reviewing the doc too.
Shut up.
I'm just joking.
No, but knowing all the stuff.
No, it is cool. It is cool.
It's really interesting,
no,
actually.
It definitely is. Definitely.
The only special feature thing I watched was on the first disc where Fred Vogel went back to the tower like a long time later with his dad and like the psycho guy and like somebody else, and he walked all the way up the actual tower. He walked up into it and was like talking about it and his town. And something that I found interesting on that was that the guy that played the psycho kid is like a doctor now. I was like, what?
Yeah, pretty much all those people were like in college at the time, and how they paid the bills, I guess.
Yeah, you know what? One of the things that I really like about the movie is much what I liked about the sweatshop that we watched a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
A few months ago at this point, where I really did kind of buy into, besides the boyfriend, I bought into the characters' sort of dynamics and they're hanging out and they're talking to one another, and there's a scene where somebody starts talking about like how to roll a joint or like something like that, and I'm just like I'm buying it, I'm with it. I'm like, okay, these people feel like sort of natural to me, like this is what people do. They hang out. Oh, we got to move the party. Oh, like stuff like that. It felt really, really cool to me. Like really of that era, that 2006, 2009, that era was like when I was, doing my party and stuff. So it really felt very natural.
I always love that scene though too, when everyone kind of meets up at Buddy. I think it's at Philly's house. They're in the garage there, and it's like totally done up like awesome. It doesn't even look like a huge garage. Yeah. And like the car is parked inside, but they're all hotboxing the car. They're sitting in the car in the garage when there's like this totally awesome setup. I mean, they eventually get out of it and stuff, but I love that scene though, man. That so happens. That is some real shit right there. So I thought that was pretty funny, but so I don't know.
Me personally, I really like the setup to the film. And once they get to the tower, I don't know about you guys, if it was just me, but it seemed extra dark, and I was actually having a bit of a hard time like seeing what was going on sometimes.
Yeah, I noticed that when they first got to the tower and they were walking around. My TV, it wasn't my TV, but like the movie itself was just filmed dark, and I had to turn the brightness up on my TV to see kind of what was going on.
Really? I don't know, man. I think it's because I've seen it a couple of times. It doesn't really bother me. But yeah, I think it is pretty dark.
It didn't bother me. I just couldn't see like what, like they were talking. There was like actual like they were talking and they had dialogue. I just couldn't see who was talking and where they were going to. Like all I saw was like a small flashlight, and then I saw like an outline of a face, and that was all I could see.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily the talking. It was when people started moving that it was annoying me, because I was like, I don't know what the hell's where people are going and stuff, and I don't know who's who and stuff. So it like that was a little problematic, but you're gonna get that in some indie films, especially with
the odd thing is, again, going back to Doc, they actually talk about the lighting in that scene, and they like Fred wanted it really, really dark. probably not that dark. I don't know. The thing is,
There's a way to do dark, like John Carpenter's Halloween is the prime example of how to do dark, and there's a way to not do dark, and that's it's really kind of on the edge there.
Yeah,
because if it becomes frustrating or annoying to the viewer, then it's probably the wrong way.
It's so strange. I never, like, the first time I watched this film, it never bothered me, which is really
like
interesting.
it honestly didn't bother me. I just, like, when it got to that scene where they first got into the tower, I was kind of like, you know, I was watching it, and then I got up to go get a drink, and I came back, and then I was still looking at a black screen almost, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, and then I took my TV remote and I turned up the brightness just a little bit, and I could see
that's why it stopped bothering you. I didn't turn up.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like, it's not that it was actually bothering me. I just would.
That's crazy.
When I'm watching a movie and I felt like that there's something wrong with my TV at first. I was like, I think the lighting's a little too low on this movie right now.
Okay, so it's a little technical aspect.
I don't really think that it's necessarily the lighting itself. I think whatever camera they used, probably some sort of lower budget like digital camera, was probably just not super great in that situation.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be it too. I don't know.
Maybe the lighting was fine and they lit it properly, but the camera just
was actually the only scene that actually happened, and it wasn't I mean, anything else in the movie. So
yeah, definitely not a huge complaint.
Yeah. So, your overall thoughts on the film?
My overall thoughts?
I mean,
it's like the end part.
I personally thought that
I mean, there's not really a whole lot to say, like, in the first, 50 minutes of the film. It's a very slow build.
I like that's like my favorite part of the movie, honestly. Like,
oh,
the
really?
end stuff is cool too, but I don't know, like, I was really kind of digging the characters a little bit.
Well, and yeah, that's actually one thing I wanted to note about this film is that I actually like all the characters in this film too. I think, like, no one's, like, completely unlikable. You know,
the only person that's complete. I think the psychotic boyfriend's pointless. I don't think he should be in the movie.
Well, the thing is, I don't even really consider him, that big of a. It's weird,
He's such a big part though, and he's just. It feels just wrong, and
yeah, I know. I'm talking about, like, the main cast, like, just kind of excluding the ex-boyfriend out of here, like the actual main cast characters. I think everyone's really kind of likable, and it's always nice to see in these films. It's a major plus, where these type of films, they can go so wrong when you're watching them, and the characters are bickering and they're making fun of each other. They're being assholes and they're being dicks and shit. And this one,
I love that stuff.
They're not at all. They're having fun right from the start. When they get to the tower, they start, to party. They're smoking, they're drinking, they're having good times and stuff. And, maybe the scene goes on a little bit too long where they're partying and stuff.
I don't think so necessarily.
I honestly, that was one of my complaints when I first watched it. I was like, I can do with this, just a couple minutes of a montage of them partying and stuff, and that'll be it. But, I mean, it doesn't bug me or anything. I just sometimes those scenes kind of get to me. I'm just like, okay, I get the point.
But I think that a similar scene was in Sweatshop that did go on, probably around the same length, and we kind of gave that one a positive for that.
I think it just depends on the film, really. I mean, this
that
one
one was like more of a rave too.
I guess it was kind of the point of it, right? So, but with this one, I don't know. I just kind of wanted to get into it a little bit there, but yeah, I mean, I think that was the biggest complaint that I heard from a lot of people about this film. It's like, oh, nothing happens for like the first 50 minutes, but it's not really that big of a deal. Yeah, it is.
I don't think nothing happens because like that. I'm being honest. Like, I like the gore and stuff, but like I really like spending time with the characters. Like the one dude, like there's just these quick little lines like. Someone says something, and he's like, "Shit, I haven't seen my dick in 3 years," or something. You know what I mean? Because he's fat. Like, and I'm like, "Oh, that's funny." And it's such a small little line; it's easily passable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. I have like no complaints about it. It's one thing that I always hear from people, and they're like, "Oh, this one just too much build up. It's so slow. It's so boring and stuff." I don't think so at all. I was actually really curious to hear your thoughts on the whole, first 50 minutes of the film because. That is the major complaint. So, Kyle, did you enjoy the the whole build up to the third act?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, be
truthful. If you don't like it, you don't like it.
No, I know. I liked the film in general, it is a slow burner, like to get to the point of the movie. I mean, I like the character development in the movie. I mean, you get to learn and know who the characters are, and then the girl starts kind of like digging on this dude that's up there at the tower, and it's kind of like starts out like a kind of like it's not like a thriller, but I don't really know, kind of like a Degrassi episode, and then turns into like a fucking zombie. Like I don't even know what you would call the ending, but I mean, I liked it. I didn't think it was the best thing I've ever seen. It's a low budget. When I go into these low budget films like this, I don't look for like extravagant things within the first half or at all in the movie. But I mean, for the most part, I didn't mind it. I mean, I don't know. I think my favorite part of the movie in general was the visuals, man. I think that like the fucking effects were crazy. Like the one scene where the like it showed that guy like dragging his leg across the ground and he's like missing half his leg. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's pretty good shit right there, but
yeah,
it does take a long time to get to the to get to that point in the movie.
But it goes pretty nuts,
What was the
man.
little like gothy like cat ear chick? What was her name?
Dude, I'm so fucking bad with names, man.
I liked her. I liked her
too, man. I thought, she wasn't like the smallest girl in the world, but like, I don't know, man. There was something very attractive about her.
Yeah.
Kind of hoping to maybe see her titties in that one.
That was like my number one complaint. I was like, oh, I thought she was definitely gonna be the one.
Doesn't it seem like the main character, like the main chick in the film, like it seems like she should be the one that was keeping her clothes on, and the other one
I couldn't believe that like she was naked like several times in that movie. I was like, what the fuck?
I know, it's like towards the end too. It gets pretty nuts.
She looks like she should be like Amish or something.
Yeah. But that was actually good casting with her because she does sort of look like preserved and chilled back, and like she doesn't seem like she would be like your.
Speaking of the effects in the film, again, Kyle, I know you have the edition, right?
Yeah, I have the Possession edition. It's like 5 discs.
So watch on the second disc, the documentary is called Possessed, the making of the film, and they go into like this whole thing about like they show you how they do the effects and stuff. It's really insane. It's really fucking cool how they did it, man. Like the scene where she's got her legs wide open and blood and maggots and shit is pouring out of her pussy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's like fucking real maggots and shit, and like they were like crawling back into her, and like, oh fuck, man, it's just nasty. Like the making the film's fucking nasty, man. But like the effect, like the birth effect, super cool.
Yeah, you don't see that every day.
No, that was a really like how they did it, because like I'm watching the film going, I can't wait to see this. Yeah, and then they show you how they do it. It's really cool. But that's one thing I love about this film, man. I mean, say what you will about the August Underground films and stuff, they really took their time and like did some good effects in this. Really top notch in my opinion. So
what, man, like I obviously have seen 2 out of the 3 August Underground films, and I've said sort of what I thought about those in the past. And, everybody always says, like, this one's really different, this one's really different. I honestly, like, even though people were saying that, I didn't really expect it to be, like, an actual movie. Like, you know what I mean? And it was.
But I told you that, like, 100 times, man.
I know, and everybody did. And I did, like, expect it to be an actual movie, but not like this kind where it's, like, character development and, like, there's, like, I guess what I didn't expect was, like, a teen horror movie. Like, I didn't expect, like, a teen movie. Because that's what this is at its core. It's a teenage horror movie.
It really is. That's why I was like, it's like a Degrassi horror movie.
That's why I like this movie though, man, because you feel bad, like when Lisp, I just call him Lisp, when he gets killed in the film, you feel for him. You're like, oh man. I really like his character, man, because he had like JP brought up, he has some funny lines and stuff. He actually has a couple really good ones, like as they're driving and stuff. And it's funny because it's a shot of the film of the vehicle when the van's driving away and it kind of pulls away, and then he says something, kind of mutters something under his breath. I can't remember the line, but it's fucking funny what he says, man.
There's another line that I really liked. I'm probably gonna use this in life one day, where he's asked the girl. It's not that guy, but. The guy asks the girl, "Hey, do you like whiskey?" And he gives her the whiskey, and she starts drinking it. He's like, "Now just remember, the more you drink of that, the better I look." I was like, "All right, that's what's up. That's a good line for a bigger dude,
Yeah, that's good.
But I was overly impressed with some of the witty little lines in the film for being, you normally don't expect much from. a film that's on this level of a budget in terms of dialogue. So anytime that you know me, Moods, that's one of the things that I always give props to is dialogue and character interactions. That's real big for me because it sets the staple for the actual movie. Like for me to get invested, I have to be interested in what they're saying to each other. And this, I actually, I do think that this one does a good job with that.
Yeah, the interaction is great, man. I think one of the best lines actually in the film actually comes courtesy of Fred Vogel himself. He gets burned bad in this. I think it's so funny. He's like, he's smoking away, and Shelby's sitting on his lap, and he's like, "Oh man, what would I give to go back to high school?" And then that Philly guy pipes up, and he's like, "What? So you could drop out again?"
yeah. That's a good line.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
it's a fucking great line, man. Every time I laugh at that. It's such a good one. Yeah. So yeah, like, it's just one of those films where, when you have that impression of the August Underground films, you go into this one, man, is it ever different, man? And that's one thing I was not expecting the first time I watched this film was, the comedic elements to it too that really do work. They're not over the top. I think they're executed perfectly, almost naturally. It's just
it's very natural. It's like a bunch of guys fucking with each other and like
ripping on each other.
Yeah, like that's my style of movie right there. Like I like stuff like that.
Yeah, and they pull it off so well. Like you don't just go, "Oh yeah, that was kind of fucking cheesy or whatever." But no, it works. It really does work, and that's what sells the whole film. And again, going back to people with their 50 minutes of build up, blah blah, so fucking boring. I don't think this shit was boring at all.
Me neither.
I don't see it, man. I don't see it. I really do like it, and I think that's what it comes down to, is that people just want to get into the gore. They're like, "Oh yeah, it's so gory, blah blah blah." Yeah, you get your third act is pretty gory, but there's more to filmmaking than just having these effects. And this is what he tried to create, and he did. He wanted to create the storyline's not the most complex thing in the world. We understand that. It doesn't have to be. We've understood from watching many films over the years that sometimes the simplest of storylines can be the most effective films. It's just on how you do it and how you execute it. And I think for the most part, I think this film is executed pretty well. And I honestly, I love when the shit starts going down in the end of the film. I really do.
They do like a really good bright light lighting as well.
I like. Okay, sorry. I honestly love when the bigger guy, he tells the story of the Redsin Tower, like his version of Redsin. And then everyone's like, "Oh, what the fuck, man?"
Like, goddamn, bro, that was a fucked up story.
Yeah.
Fuck that! Don't be telling that shit. It's really dark in here, man, and we're smoking and we're drinking.
Yeah, you're gonna make me paranoid.
You're making me fucking paranoid.
One of the things that I wanted to ask. Now, Moodz, you sent me a DVD copy that was the original release disc, but they sent out replacement discs. So, on my version, the film ends, or at least I assume it ends, and then it just starts back over like 10 minutes before again. That's not actually in the movie, right? That's what
no,
the disc.
No, like the end of the scene where dude's walking.
Yeah,
and that goes on. And that was, again, done purposely too. He wanted the guy to suffer while he's, carrying a body. But yeah, so no, it just ends.
Okay, yeah, because I was like, oh wait, there's like a plot twist or something. I'm supposed to like pick up something here.
No, I forgot to tell you about that. It's gonna jump back into it. Yeah, that's right. There was something wrong with it.
Yeah, and I didn't think of it at the time, but then after it was over, I was like, oh wait, wasn't there something wrong with this? Isn't that why I have it? But no, I mean, I don't really have much else to say. I will say that the final, the final big moment was like really well done. Some of it's really top notch, like effects and just direction there.
Yeah, I honestly I love the end shot in this film. I think it's so good. I think it's kind of cool how he did it, man. He's just I'm gonna play this thing out for as long as I can, as long as I can see, man. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. I just really enjoy this film. I really do. One thing I noticed about this film that you guys might not notice, just because I go back to my background in sound, but the sound design in this film is really good because this is a remastered version and they put a lot of effort into like the sound design and like kind of amping it up and getting the right sounds. Because if you notice while they're in the tower, there's a lot of reverb and stuff like that when they're talking.
Oh, yeah.
That's natural. That's how it's supposed to sound. When you watch films and they're in a setting like that and you're not getting that natural reverb and it just sounds it sounds like you're in a basement with carpet. That's not right. It should sound like there's reverb and it should sound like you're in a big space and, kind of get that natural echo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that and certain sound effects and stuff that are panned around quite well, and the music and stuff, everything fits really well. I think they did a really, really good job with it. So
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you want to go into final thoughts and ratings?
Yeah. Kyle, do you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I did enjoy this movie. I mean, yeah, it was a slow burner, like I was saying. Like the first half of the movie is a slow burner, but it does have a lot of character development in it, which I liked. I really enjoyed the effects of this movie. Like I was very floored by a lot of the things I saw, which doesn't surprise me really from seeing. I mean, August Underground movies are, they're not the greatest movies in the world, but they do have a lot of fucked up scenes and fucked up things effects and stuff in those movies. But I mean, it overall, it's an actual movie, like JP said. It's a good movie. For the most part, it's a good movie. It's not a bad movie or anything. There is a lot of really bad acting at some points, but it's overlookable because of like the plot's pretty interesting and the effects are really good. I gave this movie a 7 out of 10.
All right,
Cool.
I'll go next. It's an actual movie. That's for sure. It has a lot of cool things about it, such as what some people would consider the slow burn nature of it. I flip that and I say that's a positive. I think that they handled that all really well, and I think that it all makes the end scenes better. And I honestly, I didn't even consider it a slow burn. I gotta be honest. When I was watching it. The only major issue I have is the psychotic boyfriend. Take him out of the movie. He is completely a unnecessarily inserted character that I don't really feel like adds anything to the film, and I think it actually hurts it. There's one scene where he goes to his buddy's house to get the gun that was kind of funny, but at the end of the day, I don't even need funny from that. I don't need funny from the psychotic boyfriend. I need funny from the characters having fun and joking around. So that's the only major issue I had with it. Other than that, I mean, there's a few spotty acting here and there, but you have that with indie stuff. This is a great independent horror film. I really, really enjoyed Redsin Tower, and next time Toe Tag has the sale, I'll definitely pick up the 4-disc or whatever it is, simply because I am curious about that documentary. Coming in right where Kyle came in, it's a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, it's a 5-disc.
A 5,
edition.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was looking at I was like, what the fuck is on all these discs?
It's crazy too, man. Okay, on disc 2 where the documentary is, that documentary is 2.5 hours long too. So just kind of, it gives you an idea of what you're getting yourself into with the features. There's a lot on here.
Oh yeah, and
I'm not even through them all yet. So it's
represent crazy. Pittsburgh, black and gold. Fred Vogel, what's up? I should have been a hometown boy, honestly.
JP, just Pennsylvania, right? There you go. That was good.
Perfect.
Yeah, Redsin Tower, man. I probably am. I'm kind of notorious sometimes for films that I really do dig. Talking them up, blah blah blah. I hope I didn't hurt your guys' views on this stuff. Kyle, you didn't seem to be as impressed with it, but I've always said that, when I first saw this film, I was like, man, I love this movie. And I just kept hearing nothing but complaints about it. All that shit, slow burn, fucking blah, 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 pointless, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, no, I think that people are just looking for just all the wrong things in this film. And I find all the right things. And I do 100% agree. One of my biggest problems with this film is the ex-boyfriend, and that it's not really needed. I mean, you can have the whole storyline where he's just broken up, blah, 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 but you don't have to have that guy there.
Yeah,
you really don't.
Honestly, think about it. He could have, even if he was just calling her obsessively and it gave her a good reason to get out, and maybe he did come try to start some shit hey, come back with me, and got beat up. You could end that right there, right? You don't need that character anymore.
Yep.
It's it's kind of an odd. Maybe there was something more to it that never really got from paper to film.
It could be. Yeah, I honestly don't think the acting's overly that bad in this film from the main characters. I think everyone does a pretty solid job. Comedy works in it. I think the effects, for the most part, the cinematography, I do have actually noted that it can be a little dark at times. It didn't really bother me as much as it bothered you guys in certain parts.
It only bothered me for that brief moment, but I just...
Well, the thing with me is I have bad eyesight already, so it's okay. I can't see things that are
where
far
I have
away.
like 20/20 vision. So.
Yeah, I can't see things that are far away. My TV's pretty far away from my couch. it's like probably a good 5 feet. Probably a bit longer.
5 feet.
Well, mine's way further than that.
It's probably like I don't know.
Back to my TV than that.
7 or 8 feet, I'd say.
You're fucking blind as a bat.
I'm pretty
Kyle's
blind,
fucking
dude.
Stupid is what he is.
Dude, I'm fucking blind, dude. I can't see 5 feet in front of me, like at all.
Holy fuck, man.
Dude, I have the worst stigmatism ever. I wear fucking glasses.
Kyle can't even see what color the cock was that he sucked last.
Fuck you, Jake. Why don't you go suck Fred Vogel's cock with your PA bullshit? How about that? Asshole.
Shit,
But anyway, that's the only reason I about the lighting is because my eyesight's bad already. If my eyesight was 20/20, I probably wouldn't give a fuck. So
that does make sense, but all in all, I think this is a really good production. I think there's definitely room for improvement on the film, but I think overall, it's just a really, really solid independent film, especially, this being his first structured film. It's not an August Underground film, so it's quite unique to see this from a filmmaker, and it kind of shows that he has a little bit of dynamics for sure. When I talk with Fred about his filmmaking and stuff, and he's an interesting person to talk to. You can tell that he just has a lot of ideas and he's got a lot of talent, and he can go in a lot of directions. I hope he does more.
I hope he gets more money.
I know, that's the thing, man. He's so into it. He really is. He's always at these conventions. He's always like one of the top personalities there, and people really do support him and stuff. And I hope someone just throws him some cash one day. Just here, do a film. It'd be fucking amazing. But Redsin Tower, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10. Like I said, there is room for improvement, but it's a fantastic film. I love watching this film. I've watched it over and over again. I never get bored of it. There's something about this film that I can not only relate to. When I was younger, sitting in those garages, smoking, drinking, partying, doing stupid shit. I never got possessed, and did some crazy shit. That never really happened. So I can't relate to that, but as for the rest of the film, it's very relatable, and that's what I love about it. It's great.
No, you're right. I honestly could watch this one again, and every once in a while. I think I would throw this one in every once in a while.
I would.
It's a chill movie. I liked it.
Awesome. I'm glad that you dug it, because I know I've talked about it so much.
Yeah. Was Derek the one that gave this a 10 out of 10?
No, I don't think so. Okay. Did someone give this one a 10 out of 10?
I thought I heard somebody say 10 out of 10.
Wow, crazy. That's pretty high.
Yeah.
It's kind of high like a lot of the characters, man. Oh, shit, man. Alrighty, so that is going to conclude the 76th episode of the 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode, man. I had a lot of fun, a lot of good conversation. Again, thank you, everybody that left us questions and voicemails. We really, really appreciate the listener feedback, and just anything to do with questions. We love it. So, Kyle, thank you for coming back to the show. You're always welcome. You're always welcome. If you can break free from all that dick sucking that accumulates all your time.
Too much dick sucking in my life, man. Too many thick, meaty cocks just around me at all times.
Kyle, are you trying to be the new Jeremy? Are you trying to break his record?
Maybe this is why you have such a bad stigmatism. You gotta stop taking those shots in the eyes, man.
Dude, I know, dude.
Maybe it's bad. Too much
doing
salt,
those bukkake scenes I do all the time. Goddamn.
Oh, man. Okay, we can't do that
now. Oh, my God. That's great. But, anyways, man, thanks for dropping by. Always glad to have you on the show, man. You always do a good job. So stop by anytime. Maybe one of these days we'll get to...
One of these days we'll let Kyle pick the film.
Yeah, if he wants.
I'd be so down for that.
Yeah, I bet you would be down on your knees, right?
So bad.
God, y'all motherfuckers are getting at me tonight.
No one's listening right now, anyways. It's too
Yeah,
far in
Kyle,
the
you
show.
know nobody listens this far into the show. Don't you remember when Jeremy got all pissed off when I was like, nobody's listening right now? And he's like,
Oh.
fuck you, JP.
Dude, it was so fucking good. Shit.
All right.
Man. All right, JP, you want to take us out of here?
Yeah. Let's do it. So, guys, I'm not gonna go through all this stuff tonight. I'm super freaking tired right now. I was losing it. The only thing that I will say is, you can check out our YouTube channels. That's Moodz 616. I am Double Shot J, and that is the Pet Horror File, aka Kyle. Check him out on YouTube. Enter his contest. Send him dick pics. And we're done. We're through. We're out.
Woo.